He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer and
good morning to you, and thank you very much for joining us on the mother of all talk shows, Alhaji and Alhaji, the last for the year. This year has been a very eventful year, so much so that you think some of the things that happened this year actually happened last year, so much so that you will not know that we are only 1 year into the 4 more for Nana. Well, there are several things that have happened this year, so much that Parliament now, in fact, when Speaker Alban Bagbin was sitting in the seat some 2 days ago, the Facebook feed of Parliament got over 4,000 people watching. Parliament used to get not more than 100. There's so much that has happened in that house that people are interested in what happens next. Well, talking about what happens next, let me give you an update on what is happening in terms of the e-levy, because everybody is wondering what will happen to the e-levy. And this morning, this is one of the statements that have been issued December 15, 2021. And it says the Ghana Chamber of Telecommunications and its members, the mobile money operators, Airtel Mobile Commerce Limited, as Airtel Tigo Money, Mobile Money Limited, that is MTN Momo, Vodafone Ghana Mobile Financial Services Limited, Vodafone Cash, have followed keenly the national discussions on the e-levy policy. We have also engaged with various stakeholders on the issue. We have had extensive deliberations with government on the need to lessen the impact on our consumers. We acknowledge the need to expand the tax base. However, to reduce the overall impact of the new levy on consumers, MTN and Airtel Tigo have agreed to downgrade revision of their P2P, that's person-to-person transfer fees, by up to 25%, depending on respective operator. Vodafone currently has no charges. Each operator would notify their customers of the applicable revised rate when the e-levy bill is passed into law. So which means that the next time you send money to MTN or Airtel Tigo, they are saying they are reducing their charges by 25%. But that is still not the issue. The issue is a levy, 1.25%. And we understand Parliament has suspended its consideration. That's just one of the things that has actually greeted us this year. You would also have forgotten that this year was the year where the health minister attempted to buy a Russian vaccine in the Emirates. He didn't get us the vaccine. In the end, he didn't pay anything for it. This year was also the year when we decided that, oh, we couldn't do 88 district hospital. We want to do 111. This year was the year when Alhaji and his caucus in Parliament came under a lot of criticism for the approval of the ministerial nominees, some of them that were put forward by the President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. So several things have happened this year. So we are talking about this year in review. We are looking at our Parliament. We are looking at Labour, because the Labour went to negotiate 4%, 7% increments from 2021, 2022. When we were getting to the 2022 budget, they came and said, please increase it for us. Well, so we're talking about the Labour front. But there's a lot of agitation on that front. We'll be putting all of them into what we call 2021 under review. What do you make of the year? You can share your thoughts with us if you're watching us via any of the social media platforms, YouTube, Facebook. Use the comment section and share your thoughts with us. My name is Sena Nombo. I'm joined this morning by some of the people who have been most regular on the show. Whenever he's available, he's always on the show. He's the General Secretary of the Socialist Movement of Ghana. And then one of the Alhajis in the Alhaji and Alhaji himself, Alhaji ABF Sena, who was member of Parliament for Sanyarego. I see Nanaya Jantwa, who is the General Secretary of the Convention People's Party, Nanaya Achimpim Jantwa. We're expecting Mr. Bernard Mona, who is the Convener of Justice for Ghana, to join us. And then we're also expecting Alfred Ogbami, who will be joining us for the first time on this show. He is a senior journalist. He will also be joining us for the first time, not on this show particularly. I think Mr. Flash shaking his head. He's had some history with the show, but for the first time in a long while. That's what I should say. So he'll be joining us, and that will complete the panel for today. But today we also have an audience. We have an audience sitting right beside me. I was going to say behind, but I realized it's not behind. Sitting right beside me, and they will be having their say on the issues we'll be discussing today. Well, I think we should start immediately, and then perhaps hear from one of our panelists first. And for the very first time, I feel like starting with Nana. And Nana. Well, so let me start with Nana, and before I go to Alhaji. Nana, good morning. I'm fine.
Merry Christmas to members of my party, the Convention Party. Then I don't even know how to start, because this year has been a very eventful year. Look at all the things that you were talking about, Sputnik, and this last end of it, the E-levy. The MPP is always full of surprises, isn't it? I mean, they cannot do without surprises us. Hasn't also been an easy year for us at all. Things have been very difficult. The economy hasn't been good enough for us to survive. The burden of survival is heavy on our necks.
Okay.
They said because of Omicron, we should cover and lose. The burden of survival has been very heavy on our necks, and things are not that easy, but the government doesn't seem to even recognize. They become very peacockal about it, burying their head in the sand as if nothing has really happened, as if everything is all right. And for them, all they need to talk about and give an excuse is COVID. And when it comes to their achievements, they don't talk about anything else but free SHS, which in itself has a problem, and that they don't even know how to go around it. This 5 years of the MPP, it's been very problematic, and sometimes you think through it and wonder what is really happening. Because, and when you also think about it too much and you talk about it, they don't seem to understand that things must change. They always think somebody is criticizing them. You are not appreciating the little that they are doing. But it's not about appreciating anything. It's about a job that the country has given to them. They have a job to do to fix this country. They have a job to do to create employment. They have a job to do to ensure that our healthcare system is good enough for us. Because when they get sick, any member gets sick. The last time the finance minister got sick, just recently some of them were on medical vacation or medical treatment outside the country in Parliament. And they had to bring all of them back during the debate on the budget. So I wonder in my mind, why do you leave this country when there are hospitals all over? But the poor person, when they are sick, has to go to hospitals in this country. They use the taxpayers' money to go for medical checkups. When we have hospitals, there's the Legon hospital here, there's Kolebu, they go to Kolebu. If things are okay, certainly they should be there. But they have just detached themselves from reality. They have detached themselves from the people who voted for them, and they take us for granted. For instance, this issue of the Sputnik V vaccines. We don't know what happened to it. We don't know whether the man has refunded the money. We don't know whether the vaccines were brought in or not. And nobody is saying anything. Nobody is coming to account. They've taken so many loans, and there's no accountability, and they keep burdening us. You see, for instance, the solution to the e-levy is not the fact that the telcos will reduce the fees that they charge us by 25%. whatever it is, there is some form of charge. 1.75 on money that I am sending to my parents in the village to go to the hospital. 1.75 on every transaction that I do using mobile money. And the sad thing, Sena, is that the money that I am sending to whoever needs it is charged already. I've paid my taxes on it. I remember the wife of the finance minister, in a bid to help her husband out of the quagmire in which he finds himself concerning the e-levy, she came out to say that 1/3 of her salary is being taxed. And that was, I mean, I was happy that she is the one who revealed it, but because it is true, as a public service worker or as a formal worker, 1/3 of your salary goes into taxes. Then after that, 1.75 of that is given to government when you send Momo. And I am surprised that the vice president himself said that using Momo as a form of taxation is not good, because poor people are the people who use Momo to send money. So then it means that even within their own government there is confusion. The head of the economic management team is against this form of taxation, and the finance minister and maybe some other group of people are for it. Then we are in trouble. Then it means that the government that is looking after this nation is not on one page. There's total confusion. These are the same people who in 2016, the same Dr. Professor Baumia, the economic professor, came around and said that it's a lazy man's way of mobilizing revenue. If you do it through taxes, you have to do it through production. What is happening now? Where is the production? One district, one factory. Where is it? The youth are unemployed. The youth are unemployed. Right now, what happens with the one district, one factory is if they find out that there's a factory somewhere, then they give you incentives. And they label it one district, one factory. Very soon, we find lotto kiosks becoming one district, one factory, because anything they can lay their hands on, they turn it into a one district, one factory. All they know is sloganeering, breaking the 8, Agenda 111. You tell us that you are going to build 88 hospitals. We don't see anything. You don't start the process. The next thing we hear, Agenda 111. Now we don't hear Agenda 111 anymore. So in ruling this country, in making sure that things are fine, the main thing they do is always they find slogans. Slogans to ensure that you do not follow what exactly they promised that they would do. 1 million, one constituency. They bought one ambulance, $75,000. What happened to the rest of the money? They said there are projects dotted all over. Who is monitoring it? And sometimes I blame Parliament, because when they come asking for money, Parliament just goes through it. I don't know who is minority. In my mind, there is no minority in that house. But they said there is a minority, and they have agreed to be minority. So we take it like that. They do not really put government on its toes. They really need to scrutinize and make sure that the people who are ruling this country give an account of the money that they have taken on our behalf. Because the loans that they have taken, it is not for them. They take the loans in our name, and we are going to pay for it. Our children are going to pay for it. Our grandchildren are going to pay for it. And nobody is asking them to account, because in that house is Ghana. I always say that because 275 representatives represent 31 million people in this country. And they have been put there to talk about Ghana. What we cannot say, we expect them to deal with it. But sometimes every time there's a budget, it is approved and nothing is. I was reading through the budgets and I noticed that most of the projects that they said they have done, none of them is 100% complete. The highest is about 71% complete. So what is happening? It means they are always pecking at things. They peck at this one, leave it. Peck at that one, leave it. Peck at that one, leave it. There's no consistency. There's no plan. They get up and they decide to do what they think is good for them. And it's all about themselves. They do not consult. Ghanaians don't mean anything to them. In their mind, they are in power. And that is it. But we cannot continue like this. Sena, we cannot continue like this. It is sad that we are in a democracy. We have no choice but to stay with them till their time is over. But I do believe, and we at the CPP do believe, that 2024, things will change. In whichever way it goes, Ghana will come together as one body, as one structure, to ensure that this form of subjugation, this form of mess, does not continue. Because this is the country that we have. We have no other place to go. But look at us, we are in a complete mess. This country is in a complete mess. You don't know which way to go. They don't have a clue about what to do. All the promises they lined up them up because they wanted power. They don't have any good intention for this nation. I think that in 2024, that is what it is. We have no choice. We should make sure that this country is taken out of the hands of the oppressor. Because today the oppressor is not the colonialist. Today the oppressor is poverty, hunger, disease. Look at COVID. Even we are taxed for COVID. Under COVID, so many loans have been taken and we do not even know what the money has been used for. So the time has come for us to continue talking about the issues, to continue putting our voice out there, to continue to put the government on its toes. And at this moment, I'm tasking Parliament to do the needful to put government on its toes. It should not be a 9-day wonder with the e-levy. It should be everything else that they are doing that is not good for the nation. Everything else. Of course, you can't say everything is bad, but if you are putting some equation to it, I would say 80%. It's as if they don't even have it. I mean, they don't care. They don't care. All the things they said, I mean, they were not going to do. All the things in 2016 they said somebody else was doing it, President Mahama is doing this, President Mahama is doing that, this person is doing that. They are doing exactly the same thing. So sometimes you wonder in your mind, was it because they just wanted power? Was it because they lied to us? Was it because I always say that they treat us as a playboy dealing with girlfriends. They tell us what you want to hear. That is all. They don't care about us. But I believe that this country will overcome unemployment. The youth that are unemployed, they have short-term measures to deal with unemployment. NACOB, planting for food and jobs, but there is no food in the country. So sometimes you wonder what is going on. When you talk about it, they tell you that, oh, there's food everywhere, food is cheap. But go to the market, it's a different story. Even at Christmas, things are so expensive, people cannot buy. Go to the market. So now all I'm saying is that it is not only this year, it hasn't been good since from the very beginning. And it is time for us to come together as a nation at the point that is needed, at the particular time of 2024. We need to make sure that this country is liberated. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And let me say a special welcome to everyone joining us in the premises this morning. And also announce to you, if you haven't gotten here yet, you're on your way, you can just please pace it up so that you don't miss the show. Be here, and if you have something to say, don't worry, you have the opportunity of saying it. I can see Albert is actually in the premises at the same time watching on Facebook, just like myself. So if you're outside too, you are unable to make it, of course, we'll take you into consideration. Don't forget, today and this weekend, the MPP is holding its annual National Delegates Conference that they are holding today. And you know, the biggest problem that concerns them is the issue of becoming the next flag bearer. And that is where they'll be tussling out. The questions of the economy still remain unanswered. This year, like Nana said, of course, the issue of food prices has been very prominent. And of course, this year, one thing that took a lot of us aback was that there was a new fight against Galamsey. The old fight was not accounted for. A new minister came in, started a fight against Galamsey. There's a new special prosecutor to this year. So a lot has happened, so much so that sometimes when you're trying to recount, you miss some more. So let me bring in Comrade Bernard Mona, who is sitting right by Nana. Comrade. Mr. Mona, we'll have to take a short break so that your sound can be dealt with. It looks like we have a problem with Mr. Mona's sound. We'll do that immediately after this break. So we'll take a short break. When we come back, Bernard Mona is on the floor.
He's the Redeemer. And
Hello, information.
Madam,
Me, I have still not got the money for that list of expensive building materials you sent to me. The price of the iron rods have been increased too much, added.
Madam, relax. Look, that's not why I even called. I just visited IPCP, where the engineers told me everything about your Sako fast floor.
Trawanko, please, those people are expensive. Are they not the people building those big houses in town? I beg going to guy.
Madam, in fact, I used to think the same until I visited their office today, and they gave me an estimate of how much it will cost. Yomo, the estimate is free. It's cheaper than the one I even sent you.
Wow.
Building contractors, foremen, masons. Visit IPCP, the Trasaco Fast Floor. Engineers will assist you build an affordable, faster, and stronger building.
Oh, madam. It is done.
Wow.
Trasaco Fast Floor. Stronger, faster, and affordable.
This is a Trasaco construction product.
Hello. What are you doing Tuesday to Friday, 7:30 to 9 o'clock p.m. every day? You should be watching The Couch. I'll tell you why. On Tuesdays, we talk social issues, lifestyle, health, all those everyday issues that affect us in the big ways. Late Wednesdays are for book reviews. Thursdays are for the hard talk, those social, economic, policy-oriented, political questions that demand for the tough questions to be asked. And Personality Profiling Fridays, when we get to know the stories behind the winning personalities we love. Inspirational story from inspirational personalities. Hey, listen, you really cannot miss The Couch with me, Amma, but still the only TV show with a hat.
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people.
Hello once again and a good morning to you. If you're just joining us, 2021 Under Review is what we're talking about today on Alhaji and Alhaji. And like I said, there's still space here. You can join us here if you are able to, but if you're not able to, please share your comments. I'll go through some of your comments as we go along in the show. And like I said, Bernard Mona was on the floor.
So we saw what many have described as a very divided parliament, where we have 137 political parties parliament and an independent candidate. How independent is a question for all of us to answer, because he was a sitting member of parliament who suffered some internal machinations and was muzzled. Went independent. His party virtually crucified him, but his people wanted him as their member of parliament. So he came back. Now was the crucial issue as to where he will sit, because as you know, the standing orders of parliament put it a two-house parliament. You must be either of the minority or the majority. You can't sit as an identified group in parliament. And therefore, they had to push him. Eventually, he agreed to sit with the what they describe now as the majority group, leading to a very thin majority with one. But on that day, we saw a new enthusiasm where our members of parliament stood up, because this is the second time in the Fourth Republic 2 persons have been presented for the selection of the Speaker of Parliament. The first one had to do with Peter Alajete and Bejina Sechi-Hughes. And this time, it had to do with Alban Bagbin and Professor Mike Eronokwe. Mike Eronokwe was the sitting speaker. What happened that night till the next morning was exciting, because the now minority side will not agree. In fact, they went earlier to go and occupy the seats of the majority side. And you should commend them, because there was no majority. You had 137 and 137, and so you could decide where to sit. And so they occupied where the majority is supposed to sit. It turned out that it took a very long process until eventually we got a Speaker of Parliament. And for the first time, the governing party lost the speakership to the opposition political party. And I think that our members of parliament did a tremendous job on that night or that morning by getting us a speaker outside of the government. All of us hailed the process, and we thought that a new day in our democracy had arrived. Particularly so that the many happenings prior into election 2020 were nasty, there were compromises, and in fact, you can describe the 2020 elections as a stolen verdict. So we thought that it was time for our MPs to hold government to account. Unfortunately, it did not happen that way, as we saw that the president nominees were virtually approved. This sank the heart of many a Ghanaian. Lot of mayhem, atrocity against the people of Ghana will not get the light of day in their approval. Because it's unthinkable that those who were responsible for security in this country when Ayawaso West Wagon happened would be the same people that the president will renominate and they will get confirmed. It is unthinkable that during the registration processes, we saw ministers come and stand out and say that they deliberately sent out soldiers to go and muzzle Ghanaians out of coming into Ghana because they lived in the borderlines. And so if you are a Ghanaian who lives in Hamele, Ouagadougou is much closer to you. Bobo Dioulasso is much closer to you if you wanted to do business than traveling all the way to Kumasi or Accra. So most people will choose commercial centers and go and do their trading. And probably over the weekends they come back, or after a period they come home. If you were living around the Aflao area, it was easy for you to do or establish your business in Lomé than to come all the way to Accra to come and establish your business in the commercial capital. So you have Ghanaians who have decided to establish their businesses there. And yet we have ministers who said that these Ghanaians could not return because it was time to do registration. And then if you were returning, you were considered not a Ghanaian but a foreigner. It was even erroneous for some pronouncements to be made away that this time it's no more Togolese that were coming into Ghana, but Ivorians were entering into Ghana to vote, register and vote. And so if you have the persons at the helm of security that supervise all these infractions on our lives, one would have thought that we would subject them to very strict proof and say that they are not competent to occupy the position of ministers. We did not see that. We even saw some people who did not understand anything around their ministries, yet they were approved. We saw people who actually took loans. They are 83% shareholders of their companies. And the companies will go and take a loan and they come and lie before Parliament that they were unaware that the company took loan. Such people cannot be in charge of their own companies. And you expect them to be in charge of a whole ministry. Number 12, since that Anas has quelled. So the principle that is supposed to strengthen corruption and gap within our government does not exist, because if you try, the presidency and the government will come after you. Manasseh Azuri, who used to remember the story of the Ford saga and took it to a different level, when he died and spoke about the militia in the castle, he had to flee this country for his dear life. Since then, Manasseh Azuri has decided that he will be doing something different away from the investigative journalism that he used to do. Many journalists are very quiet about the happenings in government. Civil society organization appears comatose. Our religious leaders that used to speak with such venom and passion for our nation have ceased to exist. That is what we now can describe as a silence that is creeping among all of us because of fear. Majority of people cannot speak, and if you speak, probably your sleeping place will change. And that does not augur well for governance in any nation. Anytime you see that there is mass silence of our people, then it means that it's like a cow down fire. You don't see it in the open, but beneath is heavy under, and that, when stepped on, can lead to an explosion. And I think that that is the major challenge that we are looking up to. Now, let me translate quickly to the recent happenings in the Parliament. It was exciting that on the 26th of November, we saw our Parliament reject the 2022 budget statement and economic policy. It was exciting because many things had been introduced into the budget that, to all intents and purposes, does not support the future of our nation in a prosperous manner. This budget, before it was put up, was touted as a budget that was supposed to promote entrepreneurs. Indeed, it said that we are going to promote an entrepreneurial nation, and that we are going to ensure that majority of Ghanaians became entrepreneurs. I have an issue with that too. Those who want to be entrepreneurs will be entrepreneurs. Those who want to be farmers will be farmers. Those who want to be engineers will have their own field. And of course, those who want to do other things will have their field to contend with. Because journalists will continue to be journalists. I don't know when journalism became anti-entrepreneurship. And so for government to sit down and say that you want to commit this nation to an entrepreneurial nation means that you are telling us that all other professions should collapse in favor of entrepreneurship. And I'm not sure that that is the way it should go. Even in that, the government tries to justify the reason for which it must impose further hardship on the people of Ghana. That to promote a young entrepreneurial nation, they need to tax us more. And taxing us more is not just the electronic transactions levy, but it's factored in many other taxes that they have silently used big language to cover. Because if you are going to have 15 to 20% charges on all government services, water is a government service, electricity is a government service, TV is a government service, many other things that you are going to embark on, including public transport like the state transport companies, you are going to pay 15% rise, which is pegged to the rise of inflation. So anytime inflation is going up, the 15% is also adjusting accordingly. People have not taken note of this because of the manner it was couched. The other one obviously has to do with the e-levy. The e-levy saps away your capital. For instance, if you have a 10,000 Ghana cedi to start a business, and you decide, and that should be the natural course now because you say COVID is in place, and therefore we should ensure social distances, we should limit human-to-human interaction. So people now do business without interfacing. The only way that business can survive is that you are able to electronically transmit and transact. That when you are going to do, you are going to be charged about 1.75% plus another 1.75% plus the 2% that the telecos will charge. I will explain. Because if you own a business and I have to electronically transact with you, and you also further electronically transact, you will not take the cost of my transaction. It means I have to pay for that transaction. So when I send the money, I have to send it plus 1.75 1.75%, after I have been charged 1.75%. I hope I make the point. And so it's not just 1.75%. So if I'm transmitting resources to, say, Nana, and Nana is supposed to transmit the resources further to someone else, and I pay, say, 7,000. On every 7,000 Ghana cedis, you are paying about 122.5 Ghana cedis as your share of 1.75%. And so when I ask Nana that I'm sending you money to go and pay for something, Nana will not just sit down and transact. What it means is that I must add the charges to her so that she will be able to send the exact figure. Don't forget that in sending the exact figure to, the telecos will also charge 1%. And when you are going to take your money, you also take 1%. That also accounts for 2%. So in all, electronic transactions is in excess of 5% on whatever you are going to do. So ab initio, when you have a capital of 10,000 and 5% of that capital had to be deducted, you don't have 10,000 any longer. How is that going to promote entrepreneurship? How is that going to foster the rise of businessmen and women? So you are eating into people's capital, and nowhere in the world has business capital become a subject of tax. You either tax the returns on capital or the gains on capital, but not the capital itself. Because taxing capital itself means that you are muscling the people out of business. And if they don't have business, they can't survive to pay you taxes. So the economic thinking around this does not gel, because this is the time entrepreneurs are going to collapse. And once the entrepreneurs collapse, in the words of Baumia, you are going to have a cyclical downward spiral. Because once they collapse, the few entrepreneurs that exist, you will be compelled to now increase taxes on them. And as you increase taxes, they will continue to also get out of businesses. And then what do you have? The entrepreneurial nation that you are creating, you realize that there will be no entrepreneur existing. This is common sense. It doesn't require any economic thinking to do so. But one of the major fears that I've always had is that anytime the people of Ghana are talking about hardship, our government is excited to come and parade figures and tell us that GDP has grown, per capita income has grown, inflation is stable. When you start to do inflation targeting without increase in investment, note that unemployment is on the rise. And just 2 days ago, the Statistical Service have come to tell us the alarming rise in unemployment because our government is doing inflation targeting. And there is a corresponding curve, it's a theory, which is called Phillips curve, that anytime inflation is falling, unemployment is rising because government is not spending so much as to bring up the sectors of the economy. You have deficit in almost every sector in this country. Deficit in healthcare, deficit in education, deficit in agriculture. I don't know which sector you don't have deficit. And so when you have deficit, you are supposed to spend more so that you'll be able to extricate yourself from those deficits. Unfortunately, our government is trying to control artificially. And once you begin to control artificially, you will always come and trumpet inflation figures that are low. When you are trumpeting inflation figures that are low, reality is that unemployment is on the rise. And when there is unemployment on the rise, the consequences are enormous for all of us. The young people cannot survive, crime rate will be on the high, and the rest is for you to add on. So you cannot use economics of averages to come and tell us that we are doing well. In any case, my constant refrain is that what is GDP? We are talking about the total summation of the income in this country. So you are adding Akufo-Addo's money to President Kufuor's money, to ABA's money, and then you come and take my income and add it and tell me that after you have added, this is the total amount of money that we have in the system. And when you average it, you divide it by the number of people existing in Ghana, you come and tell me that that is per capita income and that our per capita income is on the rise. Me, my immediate income compared with Ken Oforiatta, Akufo-Addo, and Gabi and Co. When you divide it, you will have a deceptional figure that our per capita income is on the high. Meanwhile, I don't even earn zero. And that is economic deception that we have put before ourselves. And so I have said that you cannot be using GDP as a measure of the health of our economy when you do not control that GDP. In the mining sector, we don't control it. In fact, we are told that Ghana is the 6th largest gold producer in the world. How much do we get in gold revenue for our nation? Even the little royalties that we get, we have decided to make it ajapadia, so that we can share it among our friends and family members. Thanks to our parliament that has stood to say that this will not see the day. And so when you go to the telecom sector, you don't own. You sold off our Ghana Telecom in order to balance 1 year's budget. You sold off our Ghana Airways and made it a chop bar near the Marina Mall. And so all the income that is supposed to come to government directly doesn't come any longer. So it is now that government is taking steps, and you understand why they are taking steps. Because the Minister for Communication used to be the head of Tigo Airtel. And so if Tigo Airtel is no more doing well, and they have to protect their shares in there, they have to go and use government money to buy it, to save it. And that is why they want to own a share or a percentage of the telecom sector. Otherwise, Tigo, you don't own a share. Airtel, you don't own any share. Glo, you don't own any share. MTN, you don't own anything. Anytime we use data, anytime we use voice, anytime we transact Momo, the money goes to these telecos. They take it and move away. But what they receive is factored as part of your GDP. They take away. When they take your GDP away, how do you come and tell me that when we say we are suffering, you have grown GDP? That GDP doesn't belong to us. So the people of Ghana legitimately can constantly complain about the economic hardship that we find ourselves in. And that is why, for me, these economic programs does not gel. One of the many amusing things that I have come across is the one district, one factory. And government say that it is not their business to invest or to own any district. If you do not want to own, somebody establishes his private company. You go and pump money in it. The person say, I'm going to do flower factory. Tomorrow the person decide that I'm no more doing a flower factory, I'm going to do a school. It's a school to a factory. A school cannot be a factory. The person can decide that I'm no more interested in doing a factory. I want to convert that factory that I've established into a hotel. Is a hotel a factory? Yet government has pumped so much money in it. And so if you want to do one district, one factory, let us see our government deliberately start investing and identifying areas where these factories can exist. Even as I have problem that not every district can have a factory, we can create something for them. And government should take center stage in operating. When you talk, they come and tell you that the first generation of factories that Kwame Nkrumah put up did not survive. It is myopic thinking. Because Kwame Nkrumah started these factories, and just when Akosombo Dam was commissioned, Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown. Akosombo Dam was commissioned in January 1966. February 1966, Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown. Most of the factories were either in their incipient stage of completion or were just about being completed. How do you expect a factory that has just been completed to start making profit? You come, and we deliberately sold off all these things and even set up a diversity and implementation committee to be selling off state assets. And we turn around and say that there were managerial inefficiencies. If there is managerial inefficiency, you don't sell out that company. you inject efficiency. And so if Bernard Mona cannot run Pan-Africa TV, you look for Alhaji ABF Husseini to come and run Pan-Africa TV. You don't sell Pan-Africa TV. And that is the path that we have engaged in. And so because of that bankrupt thinking, government has decided that they are not going to be responsible for factories. And so you have over 70% of the factories established in urban Ghana. Rural Ghana doesn't have factories. How is that compensating for one district, one factory? So we have a challenge. Now the challenge we have now is where we move from here. I don't want to pay electronic levy because I know it will affect the poor. I know it will affect the capacity of those who can support the poor to support the poor. Majority of you here will receive a call from somebody who is desperate for 10 Ghana cedis, 20 Ghana cedis, 50 Ghana cedis. And that 50 Ghana cedis, when given, will save the person from so much hazard. But because you will have an accumulation of 50 Ghana cedis, maybe about 10 people, that becomes 500, not so. So if you are capable of sending 500, they will charge you 1.75%. And if you want the person to receive that amount of money, you have to add 1.75%. Eventually, people will start withdrawing their money and keeping cash. You have defeated the purpose of the so-called cashless society that we are going. The poor people that we used to sit far away and send them money, we will not. Now you will be traveling to go and meet them. And if you don't meet them, you'll be looking for somebody to parcel the money through so that you'll be able to reduce the cost of sending money. This is not what we should do in a poor nation. Finally, let me speak about the Speaker of Parliament and the appropriation bill that I'm told has been approved. When the Speaker of Parliament returned, he gave a very convincing speech in Parliament, outlining the ills that were committed on the 30th of November, and pointed out to the fact that the action of the First Deputy Speaker amounted to insubordination. It amounted to misconduct tantamount to insubordination. This is what he said. And that it was unthinkable that a president can sit in cabinet, take a decision, and when the president is away, a vice president will come and overturn the decision of the president. Where I sat, I thought that the Speaker of Parliament had made a compelling case to say that the budget that is said to have been approved on the 30th was not approved. He failed to make that conclusion. On the contrary, he moved forward to go and say that he will not allow Parliament to be an errand boy to the executive. But the executive compelled the approval of the budget. And you have come to accept the budget. You have called for the Minister for Finance to come to Parliament to submit new amendments. It didn't happen. The appropriation has been approved. Given that e-levy has not been approved, I am told that Monday they will be sitting on it. I think our Parliament is playing smart on us. I think they are compromising on us. I think they are toying with us. In fact, I don't think that there is minority and majority. I think they are one and the same. When it matters most that the people of Ghana expect something, they go and agree and move on. And so what happened in Parliament was good speech, good soundbite. But it didn't work the way I thought. It defeated the spirit of many of us. Because under the circumstances, we thought that after all that the Speaker had said, the Speaker would pronounce that his ruling of the 26th stands The minister's budget has been rejected. The president's budget has been rejected. Take it back, resubmit a new budget, even if it requires that Parliament should sit under some emergency to overcome whatever will lead to a reconciliation. That would have been fair to most of us who think that what they did was to undermine the Speaker of Parliament and above all the collective conscience of the people of Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade. Let me do a couple of your messages before I go to Alhaji, because of course this year one of the biggest issues is the issue of accountability. In fact, yesterday the defense minister, the minister for national security was actually in Parliament over the issue of the private jet that is now permanently stationed at the Kotoka International Airport, the blue one with the white strips in it, the one the president prefers to use nowadays. There are questions about how much it cost. The minister for national security was supposed to provide us a cost. Let me read the messages. Alhaji will take care of that. This is Edem Buade who says, and I think a pressure group has to be formed to put minority on their toes in Parliament to hold government accountable to the good people of Ghana. Kalibi Prince Oli says, I should tell Bernard Mona that his people are monitoring from Sankana. I don't know whether he's one of them. Jovi Mansa is saying a good morning to us. Kojofosu says, the MPP is a criminal cartel. If NEC needs power, they should buy. Okay, now I ended there. Tonya Lukofi Aite says, we wasted these years in vain doing nothing in development as a country. What have we done wrong? Sadat Mashoud said, it pains to see our parents brainwashed to love political power so much that they don't even realize how toxic those politicians are and how much distraction they cause to our motherland. Ayu Farouk in Tamale is also joining us. Sena, and to your, okay, in fact, why is Ghana always to be the first country to be the recipient of any crisis that is coming? It is suspicious, this new COVID-19 from South Africa. This government is highly hiding something. You see, there are several other messages that are being sent in. This one is from, Ome Penny says, we move forward with powerful. Okay, I think there's another issue altogether. Ebenezer Nuno is also joining us, says, I'm watching you. This MPP government is joking. And I wonder those that still support the stupidity of all that they are doing. Some people don't think about the future of Ghana. Sena, mark my words. One day the youth will rise and there will be no one to stop them. Let me move to Alhaji. Of course, people are still not impressed with the kind of accountability you are getting for us in Parliament. Alhaji, over to you.
Thank you very much, Sena. Let me say a good morning to your good self. Nana, yeah. I comrade Bernard Mona, who in the last days has been very hard and uncharitable on me, members of Parliament. I distinguish long-time brother, friend, comrade, Kwesi Pratt, been in the trenches together. I salute him. I salute the technical people of Pan-Africa, the viewers of Pan-Africa there, the Blichina people of my constituency, the Sanargo people, whom I owe an eternal debt of gratitude. And my brothers and sisters, this morning, I'm honored to be part of this audience of distinguished Ghanaians like you, who have put up your sweat and toil to get this country going. I salute every one of you. They say that when they first accuse you of being a witch, your fundamental aim, if you know you are not a witch, is first to dispel those rumors before your humane qualities will then show. In the midst of that accusation, if you want to bring out your humane qualities, they will not shine. Dispel the things first. I just want to make some brief comments about, I heard Nana before, and then my comrade Bernard Mona. And I'm sure maybe some people have those feelings. That is a democracy. That's the beauty of our democracy. But it is important for us to place certain things in their proper perspective. Especially the attempt to say both the, what they call minority. There's no minority. There's a minority group and there's a majority group. There's no minority party in Parliament. Because MPP has 137, NDC was 137, but there's a group. The issue of group arose because somebody who is supposed to be independent has aligned with one of the parties, and therefore, as a group, they have a majority. But no party, as it were, has. So that's why this phenomenon is coming up. But let me suffice it to say that as at 1 a.m. yesterday, we were still in Parliament. But I got home about almost 2 a.m. What was it? We were battling the issue of the e-levy, as well as the issue of accountability Sena is talking about. Because there were some of these untoward issues the MPP was trying to foist on us, on the good people of this country, for which they had wanted to spring a surprise. It was not earlier part of the issues that had been tabled for discussion in the course of the day. So somewhere unknown, when the proceedings of the day seemed to have been grinding to a close with no specific issue, they suddenly started gathering their numbers. And it took us, a very observant group, to see that no, something was going on. They are beginning to bring their people into Parliament late at that hour, from about 11 p.m. onwards. And that sent a signal that no, something is about to happen. And so we also started gathering our numbers. And for me, that is what saved the day. This morning, we would have heard that the e-levy has passed. But for the vigilance of the NDC group in Parliament, which came with all our 137 members, I tell you, they had stampeded the Finance Committee to go and do the referral to the plenary, for plenary to vote. At the time when they believed that maybe we would have been caught off guard and the numbers were not there, and they would have passed it. Fortunately for the good people of this country, we on the ND side were able to master our 137 numbers. And when it even came closer and they saw that if a vote was taken, they would have lost. Because even granted that they had all their members, the first deputy speaker was in the chair and he had no vote. So they were left with 137. So if all their 137 voted and our 137 voted, the motion was lost. So it was at that time they backed off. But another scandalous thing happened when an agreement, an international agreement brought before the House on the purchase of aircraft to retool the Air Force came up. And we had detected in that deal very stinking and scandalous issues related to that contract. We thought it was vitiated by fraud and should not be allowed to go on because it is going to fleece the good people of this country. What is it? I'm sure you have heard of an intention to buy a presidential jet. Initially, it was supposed to be, they were supposed to tie that one in. But I think sensing that Ghanaians would not be able to take that pill for now, they are trying to find some ingenious ways of bringing it via another door in Parliament. So they brought this aircraft, which is supposed to be purchased. And when we did the perusal, we saw that, number one, as we speak now, there is no country's Air Force now that is using the kind of aircraft that they are talking about in their Air Force fleet. In fact, it was said that with the notable exception of Vietnam, and even Vietnam, that class is even different from what they have now. No other country, notwithstanding the fact that some countries had shown some interest, but they have gone back to do appraisals and they have developed cold feet. So they have not gone back to, as it were, make any specific commitment. Ghana is the only country that is attempting to make that commitment. And what is this commitment? A cursory survey of the market for those aircraft indicated that they are not supposed to cost more than $10 million per each aircraft. Under this agreement, Ghana is paying 14.5 million euros. Take note. I indicated that one aircraft is not supposed to, even in the event that we are going to patronize, we should not cost you more than $10 million. Ghana has committed to pay under this deal 14.5 million euros. And I'm sure you are aware that even the euro is heavier than the dollar in terms of the exchange rate. And you're not even talking about even $14.5 million, which is even higher than the $10 million that we are talking about. This 14.5 million euros for the 6 aircraft we are going to purchase. In bringing these agreements to Parliament, one of the essential prerequisites, essential conditions that you need to do to satisfy Parliament to give you approval is to do what we call a value for money audit. That is normally done when you do the market survey, you do all the findings, see how valuable the aircraft is, what is the lifespan, do all those analysis and attach that value for money audit to the memorandum you bring to Parliament. There was no value for money. Indeed, we also even realized that they had gone and sought for procurement, single source, and that is one of the areas this government has perfected its acts of fraud. In opposition, they argued that the 34%, 61% NDC did of single sourcing was scandalous, and that when they come as part of their preoccupation with value for money, they were going to do away with single sourcing, and all their procurement will be based on competitive bidding. In fact, I can say without any iota of doubt today, that today we are having more than 95% single sourcing since the Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia government came. And so it is one of the convenient areas that the government adopts to perpetrate fraud. And so they did this on a single source. It was not subjected to competitive bidding. It had no value for money. Indeed, when they went to the National Procurement Authority, and you have to go, that's part of our procurement law, you have to go and seek for approval. When they did the single source approval, the cabinet, as at that time, had not even appraised this document, let alone even giving the approval. So they got approval of procurement before they came to cabinet. It's highly irregular. It's the other way around. So these were the principal issues that occupied us yesterday. And when it came to the vote to be put, I'm sure that if the speaker was mandate for a head count, I can tell you without any out of that, because we sensed that one or two of them at that time was not even in the chamber. We would have carried the day, because he says at the end of the motion to approve this deal, when he put the question, as many as those who are in favor say aye, the MP people shouted. Then those against say no. I am telling you, the speaker even was rocked in his seat by our shout. Yet in the voice vote, he ruled that the MPP has it. Before we could challenge, he banged his gavel, bang, approved. So you can see the extent to which fraud is being perpetrated, and those were the issues we fought up to last night. So respectfully, I will not sit here and say those of us in the NDC group are perfect people, and on that score we stand above fault. Perfection is not the art of human beings, let alone fallible mortals like us. But I can say without any iota of doubt that we are not the same as MPP. I can say that and put my neck on the chopping board. We are not the same as them. We have on many occasions stood up, and since we are discussing things that have happened, the many scandals we have unearthed, from the Sputnik to the oil fraudulent deals and all, were unearthed by our side in Parliament. If we were the same as them, we would have gone along with them in the perpetration of those fraud. We did not. And yesterday, in fact, as part of the same measure that I'm talking about, in the course of this debate on the budget, I want to read to you figures from our vigilance as a result of our oversight in the health sector on this, how do I call it? As a result of the accountability issue that Sena raised, it is our group that has unearthed the monumental scandals in the health sector that has culminated in the blatant misuse of our resources, hiding under the guise of COVID. This government, under the guise of COVID, is telling us that they have spent 254 million on hand sanitizers. They have spent 127 million on buying nose masks. They said they have spent 126 million on another range of new ambulances. We are just aware. And Sena just mentioned, I don't know if somebody mentioned here, that even the ambulances they bought at previously at $75,000. Do your competition and see what you get in respect of this matter. 126 million for 100 ambulances. That works out to about 1.26 million per ambulance. Am I lying? At least my mathematics is better than G Mensah's one. There are more of these scandals. That they have used 197 million spent to buy, my brothers and sisters, tissue paper. Tissue paper. 197 million. They have spent 908 million, which they indicated is used to import vaccines. Meanwhile, even for the vaccines they talk, only only 1.7 million has been delivered so far. Out of all that they have indicated, we have relied on COVAX, we have relied on AU donations, we have relied on freebies from other benevolent countries in this world to fight, to position Ghanaians to fight for COVID. And in the face of this pandemic, a government that must be sensitive to the interests and aspirations of the people is rather using COVID to perpetrate fraud. And worst of all, my brothers and sisters, a total of 600 million cannot be accounted for. 600 million of the COVID money cannot be accounted for. The health minister was brought to the floor of parliament and he could not explain. In fact, as we speak, the foreign minister was also brought to the floor because in some of the embassies, totaling 60 million Ghana cedis, COVID money, the minister had to come and deny that. As for her, she didn't know anything about the amount. So whoever said this, foreign minister spent the amount, they have to bring the person to come and explain. She doesn't want her image to be tarnished. So you can see the issues of accountability here. And all this, my brothers and sisters, I'm saying, has been unearthed by our side of the house. There are many more for which, for want of time, if we're going to go into it, we will not be able to exhaust it here. So yes, we are our fair share of the blame. And I have indicated, like he started from the very beginning, when this year began, on a very high note when we elected the speaker, we were hailed to the high heavens about the fight that we put up to anchor this democracy on a pedestal where we can hold the executive accountable. But it evaporated when approval of ministers came, as Comrade Benamona recounted. And I, speaking for the minority as a ranking member on communications, came out to render an unqualified apology to the good people of this country for that thing, because yes, it was the expectation of many, not just supporters of the NDC, but many Ghanaians, that the accountability should start with people who had questions to answering rather than getting another reign of appointment. So legitimate as it was, we accepted that. But we have always indicated that what we are running is not a 100-meter sprint. It's a marathon. And when you are running a marathon, you will slow down at a point, you will be fast at a point, but you must be focused on the fact that you will get to the race and win the race. That is where we are. And so we have said, we have pleaded with Ghana that along the line, mortal as we are, we may face some obstacles, trip, fall, but get up again and continue and win the race. So that is the assurance that we are giving to Ghanaians today. So that if I'm taking it time by time to explain, there is no iota of doubt that our commitment is to stand by the good people of this country. We have asserted on our side that we are members of parliament not by our own strength, not by our own wisdom or our own stature. It is by courtesy of the good people of this country. I am here because the good people of Stanaru find me a worthy ambassador enough to send to parliament. I am not wiser than anybody in Stanaru. I am not stronger than anybody. In fact, there are people who will lift me and throw me down and my bones will all break this and that way I can get them. So is it in the other 274 constituencies. So we have indicated in no uncertain terms that we are servants of the people, and as much as possible, we will try and do whatever it takes to ensure that we serve the good interests of the people of this country. Mistakes we may make, but it is not going to be born out of the lack of commitment to do what is right and proper. We will do that, and as I demonstrated yesterday, we stayed to fight. But for our fight yesterday, this morning, we would have woken up to hear that the e-levy has been approved. And I want to take this opportunity to tell every Ghanaian that all the 137 members of the NDC, not a single person, when it comes to the vote of the e-levy, and I'm saying it here because the bill has not yet come. We fought it off yesterday. When the bill does come, at least we can assure Ghanaians that all the 137 of us are going to vote against the e-levy. Because we have taken a position that not even 0.0001% of the levy shall we support. Why are we taking this position? Because we think that this is not only insensitive on the part of the government, it is wicked. It is a dereliction of the mandate that the good people of this country conferred on this government. This is a government that has touted so much wealth in this country. I'm sure all of us here have heard Nana Akufo-Addo. Yetisikaso usu ekomdie. My tree is not good, forgive me. I'm a Savannah product. But today, Yentisika Bebresu usu konkuye. Under his watch, never in the annals of our country's history has a government gotten revenue funds like this Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia government. Never in our history. On a conservative basis, in the 4.5 years period of their governance, they have gotten over 435 billion Ghana cedis. I'm not talking of the old billions that we are talking about. I'm talking of the current billions, not the OPPPPPP. This one is the real billions, over 435 billion Ghana cedis. Minus aids and grants. This is the government that has borrowed most recklessly and in the gargantuan quantum more than any government in the history. As of September, when President Mahama was exiting office, the total national indebtedness from Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah's government to President Mahama on January 7th, 2017 was 120 billion Ghana cedis. As of September this year, we had gotten to 341 billion Ghana cedis. 341, and even what has been amortized has not been added. And it is estimated that by the close of the year we may hit 380 billion Ghana cedis or 400 billion Ghana cedis. Under this government alone, this is a government in opposition that claimed that the money was here and that borrowing was an act of lazy governance. The one who says as a Muslim he abhors pork but he relishes pork soup. You don't eat pork but you can eat the soup and lick the bowl on top. Because borrowing was supposed to be abhorred by them. They have come and they have borrowed us into extinction. Today, the IMF, World Bank, and even rating agencies like Fitch and Moody's, all of them have degraded Ghana's economy to junk status. Junk. I'm sure you know what junk is. That is why there was a catastrophic failure when they launched the last bond. Poor patronage, because Ghana is a high-risk country in terms of our ability. Debt sustainability analysis will fail. So nobody wants to come and put his money here again. So why are all these things happening, my brothers and sisters? It's because of the catastrophic mismanagement of the economy. In opposition, Dr. Bawumia projected a situation that they had a magic wand to bring paradise on earth. And then those of us who are old timers, myself and in the 1970s, Jimmy Cliff sang a song, The Fool's Parody, that they can make you feel that you are in heaven when you are in hell. They can embellish falsehood and make it so sugar-coated that you taste it and believe that you are there already when you are immersed in the midst of suffering. That is what they sold to Ghanaians. And some of my colleagues talked about it. One village, one dam. One district, one factory. One constituency, 1 million. All those plethora of utopian promises they made, so as just to win, to ride on the backs of the good people of this country to get to power. Now it has happened. And I have always said that the sweetness of the pudding is not in the aroma it emits. It's in the actual eating. Today, Ghanaians have tasted the MPP government. We are just 1 year into the second mandate of President Nana Akufo-Addo. And everywhere you go across the length and breadth of this country, people are crying that they are experiencing excruciating hardship. But my brothers and sisters, if even that is in terms of, we are going to compare it to venom. Look, that is the venom of the scorpion. The snake is yet to come. Worse is yet to come. I'm sorry to say that. But that is what is going to happen. Because our economy has been run aground. And when you say it, one of the first things they are in a hurry to say is that blame COVID. COVID is responsible. And in the debate on the floor of the House, when we engage them on the debate, they sought to make it COVID. But you see, if you cannot carry your head load, you blame it on your head part. We are clear in our mind that they cannot carry. They are looking for a convenient scapegoat to put the problem on, hence COVID. But we know that even before COVID, the economy was in trouble 2018, the latter part of 2018, 2019, before COVID struck. And why? We have gotten data to prove that COVID is not isolated to Ghana. All our neighboring countries, Togo, Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Mali, all those other countries, they were also subject. They were not cocooned from the effects of COVID. Am I lying? Every one of them is exposed to COVID as we are. How come that in terms of our economic management, and I say this because the MPP wants to tout its credentials that they have the best economic management record, and I'm saying it here and now, that the worst economic performance record, perhaps not just in this Fourth Republic, but perhaps in the history of our country, has been chalked unenviably under the government of President Nana Akufo-Addo and Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia. In 2020, the economic growth in 2020 was 0.4%. You can peruse the 2022 budget, page 13. 0.4%. Now go and do a comparison with our neighboring countries. Burkina Faso, resource deficient Burkina Faso, which cannot even match Ghana. Last year, Burkina Faso grew by 1.9%. 4 times our growth. More than 4 times our growth. 1.9%. Cote d'Ivoire, our neighbor here, grew 5 times our growth. Cote d'Ivoire grew by 2%. Togo just here. Togo grew by 1.8%. 4 times our economic growth. So were they isolated from the vagaries of COVID? It's down to sheer incompetence and mismanagement of the economy. That is what it is. And we are saying that instead of upping your economic performance, if you are not able to do that, don't impose additional burdens on Ghanaians. Why are we saying this? Ghana and Ghanaians are one of the most extortionately taxed in Africa, not just in the West African sub-region. If you go and peruse as at last year, before the regime of new taxes they are seeking to impose on us, we were doing a taxation of more than 16% to GDP, tax to GDP, more than 16%. Our neighboring countries, Cote d'Ivoire, less than 12%, just about that. Burkina Faso and others, less. So why in the face of this higher tax bracket, you are seeking to impose more burdens on Ghanaians? And we think that is not the way forward. Our opposition to the imposition of the killer Bawumia Nana Akufo-Addo e-levy is that it is too much a burden to impose on Ghanaians. Not because Ghanaians are already not bearing burdens, but the burdens are already overbearing. And in the situation of that, government itself has more ingenious ways to tackle other measures. And what are the other measures? Now, when we say, they say we in the NDC, we don't prefer alternatives. We have said, for instance, that there's so much waste and corruption in the system that they sap a lot of resources. If you go and peruse the Auditor General's report for 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, in fact, in 2020 alone, the report indicated that a colossal 12.8 billion Ghana cedis has gone to waste through malfeasance and misappropriation. 2020 alone, the same 12 billion came in 2017. So if you add the 4 years, under Nana Akufo-Addo, Dr. Bawumia, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, there's a total of 33.3 billion lost to the state. So my brothers and sisters, they are claiming that they will get an average of about 8 billion through the e-levy. Now, if you are losing 33 billion, 33.3 billion to malfeasance and other things, and you claim that you have an accolade of being a better protector of the public purse, why don't you use your credentials as having a better protection of the public purse to prevent the 33.3 from being lost, so that you don't pass that one on to Ghanaians as tax? Okay, so let's plug that loophole first. Let's drive away the Hannah before we blame the goat. Let's plug that loophole, and when we are able to protect that, we may find that it may be unnecessary to, as it were, impose that tax on Ghanaians. There are other ways we can cut expenditure. At a time when Ghanaians are crying of hardship and no money, the president who should serve as an example to all of us, President Nana Akufo-Addo, he is living the most vulgar, opulent life ever in the history of our country. Nobody has seen it. In fact, his lifestyle currently, his extravagance will even be the envy of the Gulf Arabian kings. He goes to charter aircraft so that he can bath at 34,000 feet at $22,000 an hour. Now, brothers and sisters, multiply $22,000 by our Forest Bureau rate, not the Bank of Ghana rate. You go there, they will tell you that you can't get foreign exchange. Today at the Forest Bureau, some are selling it at 6.6, 6.5. Go to the market and find out. Multiply that by an hour. And especially today, we are getting even new revelations that that aircraft, as has been said here already, is now permanently parked in the tarmac. Meaning that we must have either even acquired it or given it permanent rental basis. Renting is supposed to be a period, but this time means that we are now developing a new jargon and an aqua permanent rental basis. We're having it now. So this is the time where the government and the president should show austerity, example. And I refer you to the preface of the 2016 manifesto of the MPP. Go and read that one. It was authored and signed by Nana Akufo-Addo, then in opposition. When he said that he had gone through the country, he had seen hardship among Ghanaians, and that if the good people by their courtesy give him the benefit of steering the affairs of this country, he will lead an exemplary life. He will lead an austere life, so that the benefits will come to Ghanaians. Today, look at them. That's how our people say that, you see, when a hyena, and we all know the hyena is a very bad animal. When a hyena wants to be king of the animal so that he can get the opportunity to eat fresh meat, even if he sees a small goat, which is a kid, he will salute it and call it the uncle. In our run-up today, Nana Akufo-Addo today wants to fly 34,000 feet and bath on us. When he was campaigning, he was entering trotters, ally. He was pounding fufu. He was eating akple and bobitaji and drinking calipo, ally. Today, the presidential jet we have bought him even suit for his purpose. He has to go and charter an aircraft at $22,000 an hour and go there. And in any case, even the conferences they go, some of them, we all know what happens at those conferences.
And Alhaji, I'll be very glad if you can wrap up from
so
yeah.
I think that there are many issues. Let me come down to the current happenings in Parliament.
Okay.
There are many people who sought to blame MPs, and especially our side, for what they call certain untoward developments in Parliament. But I find that to be probably unfair and false, because you see, you are looking at an effect. When you look at an effect, you must go back and look for a cause. There is no effect without cause. When you see something happening, don't just interpret what is happening. Try and find out the background from what is happening. So what is happening in Parliament and what has happened over this is not the end of the story. There is a story, it began somewhere. And it boils down to the misconduct of the person who presided as Speaker. Clearly, Honorable Joe Osei. And I'm happy, I will come to that when Comrade Benamona indicated some of it already. Never in the annals of our country's history have we had a situation where a speaker makes a decision, and for one reason or another, he's out of the jurisdiction, and a deputy speaker under him overturns the speaker's decision. I'm not painting the speaker as an almighty person whose decision cannot be questioned. I have not said that. But the rational basis for overturning that decision. And let me say it in abundant and clear language here. On the 26th of November, when the budget was rejected, and I've heard the MPP cite numbers in the House, there were 274 members of Parliament who had registered, signed, and indicated that they were present in Parliament. 274 members. The only notable absentee was Honorable Adwasafo. The most authentic document that gives credence to attendance in Parliament is what we call the votes and proceedings. When you come into Parliament as a member, you go and sign. There is a book you go and sign, and they keep that record of attendance. So on the day the budget was thrown out, there were 274 members. The Constitution in Article 104 says a majority of members. That majority has been construed to mean 138. So if you are talking of 274, what are you going to do 138? 270. We more than met it. The argument they sought to make was that they were not present in the chamber when the voting commenced. And that is laughable. Because we all know that your absence from the chamber as a result of your willful boycott of proceedings of the House does not prevent the other members of the House from carrying out with the duties. And when Mr. Speaker came and even gave his ruling, he indicated that even he as minority leader had led boycotts, but the then majority people stayed back and passed laws, and it stood in for Parliament. Okay? It happened on a number of occasions. So it did not vitiate that. So clearly, the numbers were on our side to pass, to throw out the budget. And the budget was accordingly thrown out by an exclusive majority of 137 to 0. Now come to their case. And that is why I will soon come to what Comrade Benamona said, with some qualifications, respectfully. In their case, on the day they came to approve the budget, none of the NDC members, not even a single one of us, signed the register. We did that deliberately because we knew what they had planned to do some cantata and say that they had rescinded our decision. So we did it purposely to deny them that quorum to be able to do it. So we didn't sign. And so they had 137 members. That is why you had the unprecedented fallacy in the history of this country, where a speaker sitting on a chair, a speaker, says he has counted himself in addition to 137 members to make 138 and give them that. Mr. Speaker spoke to it when he came. He says that we have what we call when the speaker is unavoidably outside the jurisdiction of this country. Mr. Speaker can be sitting in the chair and he wants to go to the washroom. Somebody, one of his deputies, will be signaled to come and take over from him. He will go and then later come back. So that one we call it avoidable absence. Mr. Speaker is within the jurisdiction. but he has to go and do something and come back at the same time. But when Mr. Speaker is unavoidably outside the jurisdiction, he has traveled outside the country for one reason or the other. The first deputy speaker was notified that in the absence of the speaker, he will act as acting speaker. So on that day, on the 30th of November, when Joe Osei-Wusu came, Honorable Joe Osei-Wusu came into the house, he didn't come as member of parliament for Bakwai. He entered the chamber robed as acting speaker. And so as acting speaker, when you sit in the chair, you cannot say, I am adding myself. Because the speaker has no vote. The speaker cannot help to constitute a quorum. So that was an illegitimate thing that he did. So Mr. Speaker gave all these explanations to the effect that what they did was illegal. What was done under his aegis was legal. And for that matter, as far as the records of parliament were concerned, the budget had been thrown out. So I'm looking at it on a number of legs. The first leg is to determine that legally the decision taken under him stood. Illegally, what they did not stand. Now, this is where Comrade Bernard Mona's consent comes in, and maybe others who want to pass. So, if you have accepted that what they did was illegal, what you did was legal, the question then is, should that illegality be allowed to stand? And so those who ask that question, I find it legitimate. If it should not be allowed to stand, then we must revert to the status quo. That is, the budget had been rejected and a new budget should be brought. If that was the case, I am not in Mr. Speaker's head to decipher what considerations went through him. But I heard him say that yes, he will not preside over a parliament that will frustrate the work of the executive. Even as much as he will also not preside over a parliament that will be an errand boy or a stooge for the executive. So that for me is a semblance of a balance. So I would not begrudge anybody who wants to ask that we should have gone the full hog and indicated that if what they did was illegal, it should be seen as illegal and acted upon as illegal. I would not have a quarrel with that. But I'm saying that sitting where the speaker sat, I don't know the considerations and others weighing on him, and to be fair to him, those hearings and others that have gone on would have all and would have to come. Parliament was actually supposed to rise yesterday. We could not rise because even the business of the house has not been done. I'm sure among others, apart from this budget, you are aware that Parliament is also considering the LGBTQI bill, the private members bill, which is there, which Parliament also has to do. It was our wish that it could be done even before we rise, but it doesn't look likely. But all those ones are coming together with the levy that is coming. And let me reiterate, we on the NDCI side had brought out 6 issues for which we oppose. The e-levy fundamentally is at the top, and we have done so on the account of the supreme interest of the good people of this country. We also talked about what Benamano talked about, that the fees and charges levies they are bringing will attract between 15 and 20% tied to inflation. And so from January 2021, if that one is passed, anybody who goes to any government institution to transact business, GRA, your license has expired, we are going to the DVLA, or you are going to renew your roadworthiness, we are going to do whatever with government business, expect an upward adjustment of between 15 to 20%. We oppose that one. There were benchmark values which were coming, some of which are even products we don't produce here. Sugar, some spare parts, some other essential items in this country, which we don't produce. The immediate addition of 50% taxes on them will escalate prices. We have said it. We have talked about the issue of Ejapa, that Ejapa is nothing but thievery, robbery, daylight robbery. We will not be part of Ejapa, and we are not interested in amending it. Ejapa is like apartheid. It cannot be reformed. It should be dismantled. Okay. So we say Ejapa, the 1.75 e-levy, this ACA deal as well as no provision being made for our brothers and sisters in the Keita enclave where the Tada was affected recently. Those are the issues that we said we should go back to the budget and deal with them and come back. Mr. Speaker had in his ruling also asked the finance minister to make those modifications and come back. By which extension some people read it that if those modifications are made and brought back, that will be a new budget. That was the issue. And yesterday it formed some of the discussions in the process of doing the appropriations we had yesterday. And so technically, that is why some people say that it was not the same budget that the finance minister read when he came on the floor of the House. So this is where we stand as we speak. And I want to make it abundantly clear that we have a sacred commitment to the good people of this country. We on the NDC side, that we are going to stand tall no matter whatever it takes in the defense of the interests and aspirations, in the defense of not imposing additional burdens on an already overburdened Ghanaian populace. We are not going to stand for that. And that's why we say there's a zero tolerance for the e-levy. Okay. Not even a 0.0001% shall we tolerate. We will not. Yeah. And to that commitment, I give you the commitment, speaking for the NDC group in Parliament, that we will not, all the 137 members of the NDC are going to stand up to be counted. They can mobilize the 138, but Ghanaians will hear the 137 strongly standing behind and making sure that we will oppose this e-levy to the very last. And I've said it that you cannot frighten a chief warrior with a mustache.
What a way to conclude. By the way, if you're just watching us, it's the Mother of All Talkers, Alhaji and Alhaji. We're having our last session of the year here in the premises of Pan-African Television. Like I said, we've been joined by an audience. So please provide a mic for the audience for me. So let's set up the mic. I don't know how you... Okay, set up the mic for me. But before we get to Comrade Pratt, we'll hear from those of you who are here if you have some contributions to make. Let me read a few of the messages that I'm receiving. And Sapiagbo is saying, as Comrade Mona just alleged, is it true that the budget has been approved? Because the appropriations bill has been approved. Why are we doing this to ourselves? NDC MPs have a case to answer to their constituents. Why were we misled by Parliament? And then he goes ahead to say, Sena, Alhaji Fuseni, speak to the current status of the 2022 budget. Comrade Mona alleged that the appropriation bill has been passed. Is it true or false? Our NDC MPs should be reminded that our concerns regarding the budget is not limited only to the e-levy. What about the 15% increase in government charges and fees? What about the increase in allocation to the office of the president? We need to interrogate the budgetary locations and not the list of corrupt deals, because there's nothing we can do once the deal had gone through. Is Parliament in a position to recoup those misappropriated monies? It's good to hear that these fraudulent deals had been identified, but what's the probability that those monies will be recovered? None. Well, that's from Sapiagbo, quite extensive. Adams Koji Mohammed says, Alhaji, in fact, our hands are down. NDC MPs have led us to lose trust in them. We are watching and we are waiting for you people again by time. Vincent Kinswabodi says, Mr. Senator, the problem at hand now is those groups in Parliament, because we, the ordinary Ghanaians, don't know whether we have the so-called minority group to fight for ordinary citizens. They are all one with the so-called majority group. Simple. Neneno Kakunazo has a question for Bernard Mona, but I think it says, please, is it in Ghana's constitution that politicians who have caused financial loss to the state face capital punishment? No. Edem Bodi says, these leaders are just following in the shoes of their fathers. God bless our country, you say. Theophilus Adam says, NDC group in Parliament are full of talks with no action. Marvelous speeches, and at last, you go ahead, approve exactly what you made noise on. Be careful with your reactions with Ghanaians, if indeed you need power again. Benson Law said, I will be surprised to see the e-levy in operation. The minority has a job to ensure the people of Ghana that such a lazy extortion of money from Ghanaians never see the daylight in our lives. And, well, I guess the mic is ready. So, okay, so let's start with the man in seats. At least attempt to speak and let's hear you. Let's see. Good morning. Is it working?
Mr. Shaibu. I'm a musician.
Please get closer to the mic for us.
Let me hold it. Hello, yeah. Good morning. Yes. My name is Mr. Shaibu, and then I'm a musician, and then also an Africanist. An Africanist and also a rapper. Well, actually, I'm a controversial rapper. Actually, I live in Tema. I live in Community 8. And I am also a Kwame Nkrumah advocate because I love the man so much. So when I was a kid, I have never speak without having to mention him, even though I was a baby. I was not even born when he died because I live in Tema. And I live in a house that was built by Kwame Nkrumah. And when you go to Tema and you see the luxury homes that he built in the 60s, in fact, nobody will tell you that he was a hero. Definitely. And he has never owned a single house in Tema. The video that I shot, Adam shot it. I mean, he works at Pan-African TV here. And I shot it near the legendary, Meridian Hotel. I don't know if some of you know the hotel. Up till date, the caliber of such hotel is not found in Tema. Trust me. They deliberately thought that hotel belongs to Kwame Nkrumah. So they closed it down. Today the hotel is housing reptiles. Trust me on this. If you see the hotel, every meaningful Ghanaian who set his eyes on the Meridian Hotel, you will cry. Yes. Up to date. And I think Meridian Hotel was built in 1964, I think. So for me, I'm here as, a concerned citizen. Definitely. And I'm telling the whole viewers at home that, look, me, I stand for the truth. Because I actually support Kwame Nkrumah. And Kwame Nkrumah is one of the politicians in the world that his hands are clean. When the military overthrew his government, when they break through into his personal bank accounts, they had only $5. Even though, or I don't know, I don't recall the amount, but I think it was such a peanut. Even though Boozer went about calling him a thief, making Ghana his own. If you go to Tamale, I don't know, Alhaji know that the hotel, Taje Hotel, Kwame Nkrumah bought it. Anytime Sadifo goes to Tamale, he based in that hotel. Because of that, when his government was overthrown, the hotel was, I don't know, I left Tamale in 2014. The last time that I went to Tamale was in 2019. I don't know if the hotel has been, I don't know. It is still a skeleton. This is the sort of leadership we have in Africa. We are finding, we are finding every ways and means by tarnishing images of heroes. Trust me on this. Today, President Kufuor today, I love that man so much. I like him, the fact that he loved Kwame Nkrumah. You can never doubt it, no matter who you are. Or today, recently, I think it came in the news that Kufuor blamed Kwame Nkrumah for our problems. Yes. Because he's been told to do that. He himself knew that Kwame Nkrumah was a hero. Kwame Nkrumah has never been given a birthday. It was Kufuor who issued a birthday for Kwame Nkrumah. Am I lying? In 2006, at the Ghana at 50. Today, the little birthday that he gave to Osadifo, it is getting international grounds. Today, the European Union will soon be celebrating Kwame Nkrumah's birthday.
Okay.
The African Union, I don't know, my time is, I'm taking the whole of the time.
We would like to allow the others to also contribute.
Time, because I thought this seat was going to be mine. Initially, I don't actually talk to Mr. Kwasi Pratt, but I know he's the only one who can give me that opportunity. I started music as far back as 2006.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know if my time, I'm taking the whole of the time.
So thank you. I think the opportunity can be, you can speak to the people here, but, well, my brother, go ahead.
Thank you so much. I greet the organizations of this program. And I'm Raphael. Fellow Ghanaians, I want you to be citizens. Citizens are not spectators. Citizens are not subjects. In fact, right now, today, Ghanaians are being citizens. And we are being chastised as disrespectful youth. The youth of this country now are being criticized every single day. Why? Because we are being very respectful to what our president told us, to be citizens. We are being criticized every day that we are being insulted, we are being disrespectful, that we say things and we don't add up to nothing. Kwame Nkrumah, I went to Nkrofo last 2 weeks and I saw this plantation, rubber plantation, which was actually going to feed the bonsa ties to save us from the accidents happening on our roads every single day. If this leadership, this government, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, have the moral right to tell us to respect ourselves, at least he's supposed to do same to all our leaders in this country. In fact, we are in this country when Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo referred to a paramount chief to be unknown, and nobody said nothing about it. We've been in this country where some ministers of state, like what do you call it, Akrobeto, no so kind of man, okay, to tell us that should any person plan of shifting any monies to go and build what do you call it, a sea defense at Keta, where our fellow Ghanaians are going through hardship now. Some people have been rendered homeless. Then he is equally going to organize a demonstration in Kumasi. In fact, my question to him, when the KJT market was being built, did John Dramani Mahama go to the voter region to build some there? Sometimes we need to exercise patience and rethink before we come out to speak.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Any more contributions?
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Adam Kwachi.
Adam, we are listening to you.
I was a student at Likwe Senior High School in the voter region, which is now OT. I used to listen to my mentor, Mr. Pratt, Alhaji ABA, Fuseni, and others on Sekwele FM. It was an affiliate of Radio Good. But the wicked government sought to destroy Radio Good and did not spare Sekwele FM. I am from Sal because I'm a native of Likwe. Sal doesn't have representation in Parliament. So I have a simple question. Nobody represented Sal during the approval of the budget. I don't even know whether the budget has been approved. So if nobody represented Sal in that in the Parliament, why should they pay the e-levy? Because they have no representation. So why should they pay? In conclusion, a man came to Ghana in 1994 called the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, the leader of the Nation of Islam in America. And I would like to quote him. He said, "The most important ingredient in leadership is not economic know-how. The most important ingredient in leadership is not political sagacity. It is not psychoanalytical powers. It is not historical perspective. It is not even science, mathematics, chemistry, and technology. The most important ingredient in leadership is vision." So when you choose a leader, he was talking to Ghana, he made a speech at the Independence Square in 1994. And he said, if you choose a leader, Ghana, you must ask the leader not how many degrees he has from Cambridge or Oxford or the Sorbonne in Paris. You must ask the leader, what is your vision? What is your vision for Ghana? What is your vision for Africa? What is your vision for black people in America and throughout the world? When you have the right vision, then you can call the economists, the scientists, the medical people, the sociologists, that they may lend the power of their discipline to the fulfillment of that vision. Now, look at the government of Ghana. What is the vision of this current government?
Okay.
We don't have it.
Thank you. Thank you. Albert, you are a big man, so I introduce myself. His name is Albert Aheto. Please go ahead.
So, good morning. One of the people I respect so much is Bernard Mona, and I agree with most of his submissions. but I disagree vehemently with his position that the MPP and NDC are the same. In fact, he said they are one. We cannot be one because the NPP have a non-existent airport with a director. The NDC has never done that. So you go to Qatar, you have a non-existent port there with a director. The NDC will not do so. You have NPP who promised 350 SHS and built 0. The NDC promised 200 and built 123. At least 46 was completed out of the 123. And so that assertion that, oh, both the NPP and the NDC are the same, with the greatest respect, that cannot be the case. We are not same. It's just like forcing, or if you like, comparing apples to oranges. The NPP, they are in to destroy. The NDC is in to build a nation. That is the bottom line. The issue of this goes to Honorable A.B.F. Sena. The 2020 election came with a lot of criticism, and even our courts did not satisfy a lot of Ghanaians, including me. All, struggles to put Jemensa into the box failed. Everything and anything that the lawyers did to put the woman into the box to account for her stewardship failed. Now we have another opportunity by the members of parliament to hold this lady to account for her stewardship, because she's being paid with our tax money. So she is accountable to we, the good people of Ghana. The basic document which was used, and in fact the crucial document which was used in the election, that is a statement of poll, for the first time in the history of Ghana, came with an error in which the column where the number of people who were verified supposed to be written was completely missing in the list. And so therefore, if you have the basic statement and the crucial document for the election with an error, how do you expect a result, or if you like, an election not to be in error? As we speak today, I do not know as a Ghanaian the result of the 2020 election. And so I'm expecting Parliament to do diligent work, hold Jemensa before them. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Rahina Linda Abaksone. I'm actually a Frafra. And I'm a concerned Ghanaian and also a sympathizer of the NDC. And this, yes, it's a comedy. I will start by this. This is the governments who have been telling us that we are sitting on money, we are hungry, and now we've given him the opportunity now. He's even killing us and even inventing taxes. And it's unlike there's culture of silence. Anyone who rises to speak is being silenced. You are either hands down or you are either sent to jail. So right now, we have the NDC in parliament. We don't have majority caucus nor minority caucus. It only comes in terms of groups. So we are now telling the minority group in parliament who says they are like willing to save Ghana. We are telling them that they shouldn't play along the minds of Ghanaians, because sometimes it's come on like our comrade Bonamula was saying, they are all the same. But after the contribution of Honorable A.B.F. Sena about the happenings of Parliament yesterday night, I'm beginning to get convinced that they did a diligent job. So I applaud them, and I'll also urge him to let his parliamentarians, they should know that it is Ghana. We are those who gave them that power. So if they mess around with our feelings, we are the same people who are going to bring them down. So we are telling them that they should let the pride of Ghanaians be their pride also. It should be like they should let us feel like we did a job, because on 7th December again, we are those who are going to stand under the sun and vote for them again. So, and then they should know that, like A.B.F. Hussein himself said, he's not the wisest person in his constituency. Yes, it is like that. You are not the wisest person, but at least make we that we are in the house feel that what you are doing in parliament, I wish I was also a member of parliament, but my comrade, my MP, my honorable is doing it, so I'm okay. That is the only thing we want from UNDC. And it shouldn't be as if we are seeing that they are doing the fight, so they'll back out. we want them to continue this. And if they continue this, the aggrieved Ghanaians who have put all their trust in you, is like they are beginning to, after the approval of the ministers, we all lost trust, including me myself. But we had to protect the umbrella by issuing like a whole lot of statements. And then on the budget approval, you did your own best to tell us that you really think for the Ghanaian. So we want you people to do this, though you shouldn't look at us like just citizens, because when the strike of the Shro happened, we were working on ground, but you were having your cars. So it should be like, at least I'm riding a car though, but it is someone who gave me the opportunity to have that car to ride. Because if you ride right now, the speed that the kind of speed the youth are coming with, if you don't stand well, it might blow all of you away. So we are urging you in the parliament that you should let this Akufo-Addo government know that even the private jet that he's renting, it is our money that is using to rent those private jets. So if you do this for us in parliament, if you continue to protect us, to protect the public purse, you make everything. We should know that that is what you are doing.
Okay.
Then 2024, you only need to protect the ballot box. We will do the voting. And now, my question.
You have a question? Do you have a question?
Yes.
Okay. Please be very brief.
Now, to the EC, she has done all sort of nasty things. And yesterday I watched and I've seen that they've approved some sum of money for her for the year 2022. We are asking that, is there any arrangement? Because she has refused to come and explain things for her. She don't want to do any accountability. We are asking them that, is there any way they will manage to bring herself? Because there are so many questions that cannot be answered by her deputies. It is she herself that can answer them. So we are asking that, is there any way they will bring her back to parliament? Because this is the opportunity we have, because we need answers. Okay. Is there any arrangement for her to come to parliament and then answer questions? And also the soldiers that invaded parliament on the day of the voting of the speaker, when there were, at that time there was no president. Is there any arrangement for them to, who brought them into parliament, and how are they going to solve that? Because to me, it was a coup d'etat they were planning to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any more contributions?
Good morning. My name is Prosper. I have some...
Prosper, can you take off the mask before?
A question, and I would really like to read small portion of the define appropriation bill.
Okay.
Before I continue. What I'm seeing here on Google, say an appropriation bill is also known as a supply bill or spending bill. Is a proposed law that authorizes the expenditure of government. Let me end it there.
Okay.
Honorable member of the parliament is telling us that the bill, a bonnet alarm that the bill is passed, and the honorable is saying that the budget is not approved. They are working on it. I want to know from Honorable Fuseni that what bill is passed. Appropriation bill will give government authority to spend, and then the budget is not passed, according to him. Which bill, which appropriation bill are they passing? To NDC, I would like to tell them straight ahead that they should manage our temper. They want to be annoying us too much. If you are giving government authority to spend money, and you are telling us that you are not giving them the opportunity to go on with their budget, what money do you want them to spend? To spend it on what? I am not getting it. So I need more explanation to see whether I can understand this or not. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Madam?
Good morning, all. My name is Juliet Addison Saki, and I have a question. It's directed primarily to Honorable ABA Fuseni. In your submission, you said that the request for the purchase of the aircraft was passed by Parliament yesterday, I believe. I believe is what you said. Even though the NDC had all 137 of their MPs present, just as the MPP also did. You also said that the no voice was so loud that it shook the presiding speaker out of his seat. Even still, the request was approved for the purchase of the aircraft. And then today you said that you gave Ghanaians the assurance that the e-levy will not be accepted or passed under your watch, under this parliament this year. So my question is simply this. If the purchase of the aircraft that you said you objected to was passed with all your members present, how then can you be certain, how can you give us the assurance that the e-levy that we're all saying is a killer to every single Ghanaian living here and abroad? How can you be so sure that your objections will prevail in the end? Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we'll leave it there. We'll come back for a second round. But, Alhaji, I think just one clarity, then Comrade Pratt can take over. The issue of the appropriations bill. Yeah.
Appropriations that deal with expenditure. The budget is a revenue expenditure. The fundamental basis of our concerns, I mean, of course, we have concerns with some aspects of expenditure which we have flagged, but the fundamental basis of our concern is revenue measures that are posing additional hardship on Ghanaians. Those are the fundamental concerns we raise. So if you look at the e-levy, it's a revenue measure. You look at the fees and levies that we are talking about, it's a revenue measure. So those are the fundamental questions that we are raising. And to us, like I indicated to you, it is on Monday that we are going to take the e-levy bill. And that is what I said. And people should listen to me very well. I said that all the 137 members of the NDC were irrevocably opposed to the e-levy, and all of us 137 will vote against the e-levy. Now let me make that distinction. We have 275 members of parliament, 138 and one independent. The independent has gone to join with the MPP 137 to make them 138. If Honorable Bagwin, for instance, Mr. Speaker, sits on the chair, and they have their 138 and they are able to mobilize their 138, they may get the budget, they may get the e-levy pass. But what I said is that we, with our 137, all members of our side with the 137, we will register our vote against the e-levy, and we will on record that with the one that. So if it happens, for instance, that Mr. Speaker is not in the chair himself, and then the first deputy speaker goes to occupy the chair, they will lose one vote, and for it to be 137 against 137, and the vote is lost. So I cannot speak here and know what scenario will prevail on Monday, who is going to be in the chair, who will not be in the chair. But if the supposition is that the right honorable speaker is not in the chair and Joe will be in the chair, I can predict safely to you that the e-level policy will be lost. Yeah. So that is the application I'm talking about. And we are concerned fundamentally about revenue measures that will impose additional difficulties on Ghanaians.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, let me just say a big thank you to our affiliates across the country. A big thank you to all of you. A big thank you to Global FM, Ahunto 92.3 FM.
Somebody talked about the pitches. You see, and that is one of the areas of the fraud we are talking. I told you earlier on that people were blaming members of parliament for being rowdy. And in all honesty, I was one of the people who was tagged as rowdy. I did. And I say I'm not apologetic for that. Because, you see, if you bring uninfested firewood to your house, don't complain when lizards visit you. Because, you know, if you create a problem for disorder, and there's disorder, you want to blame who? You don't blame the one who started the disorder. Because what the acting speaker or the one who presides in the absence of the speaker simply does that. Sometimes he demonstrates a crass violation of even the standing orders of the house. If you rule by voice, the speaker says as many as members who say aye, then they say aye. Then as many who just also say no. And anybody who was in the chamber could hear the loud decision that we give. So even if you close your eyes to the fact that the no's were louder and you rule in their favor, you leave the process open. We have what we call division. The leadership will get up and protest that no, Mr. Speaker, we think the ruling is not fair. So a motion will be moved, calling for a division. Now let's do a head count, so that we know those who said no, those who said yes. That is when you can then truly determine the numbers. But immediately the speaker says the A's have it, then you bound this gavel, bang. It's close. He has shut up the matter, he has admitted it. Even though he knows illegally, that is not what he should have done. He should have looked up to leadership. Leadership, my ruling is that the yes have it. Are you okay with it? They will get there and say, no, we are not. Mr. Speaker, we are calling for a division under the standing orders of the House. Count us. And let's determine who has the majority in that respect. That would have been the way out.
Okay.
But he banged the gavel and then off, he was gone.
Mr. Pratt.
Well, first of all, I'm exceedingly grateful that all of you turned up today to participate in this program. I'm grateful because you are the people who have made this program what it has become. There is no current affairs program or talk show in Ghana that is more popular than Alhaji and Alhaji. And Alhaji and Alhaji has become what it is because of those of you who listen to us on radio, those of you who watch us on television, and those of you who participate in the program on social media platforms across the world. And we are eternally grateful to you for making this program your own and using this program to articulate your views, to deepen our democratic practice, to ensure that the will of the people of this country prevails. On this occasion, I think it's only appropriate that I pay tribute to two very, very special friends of mine, Alhaji A.B.A. Fuseni and Alhaji Bature Idrisu, who brought the idea of developing an alternative program to challenge existing programs which did not actually reflect the genuine will of the people of Ghana. For more than 15 years, indeed close to 20 years, we've run this program with all its difficulties. We started this program on Vibe FM. Vibe FM had a number of problems. We moved to Gold, Radio Gold, and now we are on Pan-African television with all kinds of affiliates all over the world and so on. This program will never die. This program will continue to grow from strength to strength, and this program is and will remain the voice of the people of Ghana who are looking for change. The voice of the people of Ghana who want to build a new Ghana on the foundations of justice and equality. This program will remain the voice of the people of Ghana who want to live the dream which was shaped by Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah for a Pan-African world. The dream which was shaped by Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah for a Ghana in which no child will go to bed on an empty stomach. This is the strength of the program, and the program will continue to live on year after year, and so on. As we gather here today, we can only remember some of those who over the years have contributed significantly to making Alhaji and Alhaji what it is today. There are so many names that we can't mention all of them. But somebody like Paul Afoko has contributed. Paul Afoko, who eventually became national chairman of the New Patriotic Party, has been an icon on this program and has contributed significantly to developing Alhaji and Alhaji into what it has become today. We cannot forget somebody like Philip London, who stayed with us for several years and in spite of massive public criticism and so on, continued to shoulder on until Alhaji and Alhaji became what it has become today and so on. Of course, we cannot forget our friend and brother, the late Bafu Boni, who at the time that people were giving up hope on the program, took it
to Radio Gold and hosted it and contributed to shaping Alhaji and Alhaji and so on. There are so many names we need to mention in order to celebrate them for their contributions. Samuel Kujatwa, Blakwa, Felix Kwachi, so many of them that we cannot mention all of them now. Now, today, the significance of the program today is that your participation. Your participation. It is not what I say. What I say has been said for 15 years and more on this platform. This year, I've actively participated in this program for many weeks, many months. Today, what I'm going to say and what I'm saying is not the most important thing. Today is for you, our listeners, our viewers, our social media participants. This program is for you today. So I do not intend to speak for a long time. I have not much to say today. What we're going to do today is to listen to you and to gauge how far we have come from December last year to December this year. And it's not a very difficult exercise. It's a very simple, straightforward exercise. I am convinced that this country has gone back. I'm convinced that this country is moving in the reverse. And what convinces me is not about what I know and so on. It's about what everybody is saying. I listened to a seasoned economist like Kwame Pianim, founding member of the New Patriotic Party, and he is convinced that the economy is completely shattered. He has come up to criticize the e-levy and says that it will not promote electronic transactions and so on. I listened to Kwame Pianim. He's not a member of the National Democratic Congress. He's not a member of the Convention People's Party. He's indeed a founding member of the New Patriotic Party. I listened to Dr. Nyaho Nyahotamakro, and he's clear in his views that if we continue on this path, we will smash this country into nothing. And I listened to the finance minister himself. Why? When we started the free SHS program, wasn't it the finance minister who raised issues about its sustainability and suggested that we should use a means test to exclude some people from enjoying it? That's the finance minister of the New Patriotic Party. Finance minister in the Akufo-Addo government. It's not me. You understand? So if we listen very closely to all the people who are talking, whether they are in the NDC, whether they are in the NPP, whether they are in the CPP, everything is pointing to the direction of chaos. And that is my worry. That is my worry. My worry is when the Institute of Physical Studies organizes a press conference in Accra and tells us that in Ghana today, we are spending 128% of total national revenue on only two line items: debt servicing and public sector emoluments. And when the IFS says this, I know that we are heading towards disaster. So the disaster is there. The path to disaster is clear. And if we all see that we are heading towards disaster, then we must listen to President Akufo-Addo and act as citizens and not spectators. And if we are to act as citizens and not spectators, we must begin to think about taking our destiny into our own hands. We must begin to think about stopping the things that are moving us towards chaos and disaster. We must begin to dream, to develop a vision of a new society where this society is rotting and is about to die. This society can no longer sustain itself. We are living in a country which is the second largest producer of cocoa in the world. We are living in a country which is the highest producer of gold in Africa, fifth highest in the whole world. We are living in a country with abundant resources, gold, diamonds, gas, oil, bauxite, everything. And yet look at the poverty and misery that surrounds us. Something must be fundamentally wrong with our society. And I dare to say that that's something which is fundamentally wrong with our society, first and foremost, is leadership. Leadership. Our society, in spite of its enormous resources, is unable to cater for itself. And that's the question of leadership. How do we manage, in the face of all the problems that confront us, to develop a new leadership which has a vision for national salvation and national development? That is the task which confronts us today. Nothing explains our current situation more than the movement of prices. This year, look at the prices. Just open your eyes and look at prices. And the story of prices is the story of the level we have reached this year. I got the technical team to give me a list of some of the prices, and I've been looking at it, and I'm totally shocked. This year, and the technical team, what did they do? They looked at prices from 2006 and looked at prices today. And Master, they are shocking. The prices alone tell you the level of deterioration and decay. They looked at the price of pop cement. In 2016, pop cement was selling for 28 cedis. This year, same pop cement is selling for 60 Ghana cedis. 28 cedis to 60 Ghana cedis. They looked at PVC pipes, 20 millimeters. In 2016, it was selling for 2 cedis 90 pesos. 2 cedis 90 pesos. In 2022, the same thing is selling for 8 Ghana cedis. Cables, 1.5 millimeter cable metal. In 2016, it was selling for 78 cedis. Today, it is selling for 167 Ghana cedis. Pure water, bag of pure water. Bag of pure water. 2016, 1 cedi, 50 pesos. 2021, 4 cedis. A margarine cup of beans, 2016, 1 cedi, 50 pesos. 2021, 5 cedis. A bag of cement, 2016, 27 Ghana cedis. 2021, 52 Ghana cedis. Maize, in 2016, 170 Ghana cedis. 2021, 450 Ghana cedis. Bag of maize. Olonka of gari, 5 cedis in 2016. Today it is 12 cedis. 12 cedis. As for petrol, should I read it? 2016 petrol per gallon, 16 cedis. Today, 32 cedis. Gino rice, 1 kg, 5 cedis in 2016, 15 cedis now. 1 bucket of paint, 15 cedis then, 40 cedis now. 1 paint bucket of onions, 15 cedis then, 40 cedis now. 1 crate of eggs, 12 cedis then, 26 cedis now. Iron rods, 2,800, now 5,000. Fritol oil, 130 cities, now 285 cities. Good morning, oats. Those of you who want to pretend that we are white people, Europeans and so on, who like eating coca oats. Is it coca oats or quicker oats or whatever it is? 4 cities in 2016, now 12 cities. Nido, 400 G, I suppose grams. 16 cities then, now 45 cities. From 16 cities to 45 cities. Milo, 400 G, 7 cities then, 19 cities now. Titus, you see that sardine? Titus. A friend of mine likes eating his fried yam with Titus sardine. I don't know why. 2 cities, 50 pesos then, 6 cities now. Starcase, tuna, canned tuna. 6 cities then, 14 cities now. Calipo, and Calipo is interesting. Calipo, and you know why Calipo is so very interesting. Calipo. Calipo, 50 pesos then, 50 pesos then. Now 1 CD, 50 pesos. Dettol, 500 M, 15 CDs then, 36 CDs now. Key soap, 4 CDs then, 9 CDs now. Charcoal, Bidie, charcoal. 1 sack of charcoal, 30 CDs then, 90 CDs now. Sasso mosquito coil, 2 CDs, 50 pesos then, 7 CDs now. Now they don't even want us to clean our teeth. Pepsodent, just for washing your mouth in the morning. 3 CDs then, 7 CDs now. Zomi, palm oil, Zomi. 20 CDs then, 50 CDs now. Should I continue? This is the story of where we are. The prices tell the story. But you know, the prices tell the story, but to get the story in its full relief, you have to take a look also at what the workers are earning. This year, our government decided that it can only grant workers 4% increments in their salaries. The minimum wage was increased by 4%. At a time when government officials were increasing their own earnings by 75%. Now, if ever there was an animal farm, that animal farm is here. If ever there was an animal farm, that animal farm is here. And you saw what the squealers have done. As far as the squealers are concerned, this animal farm is heaven. How can an animal farm be heaven? But the squealers, they tell us that we are living in heaven. This is their heaven. You know, I know. And I know that you know that in this country there are still people who earn 300 cedis a month. Think. The people who earn 300 cedis a month, who have 2 children, who have wives and husbands and so on, how can they survive? Even if all they had to buy was just pure water, how can they survive? They are required to pay for transportation to work and from work on 300 cedis a month. This is the crisis. This is the catastrophe that we are facing. Recently, commercial drivers went on strike. You know, I talk to all kinds of people. I talk to commercial drivers and so on. Many commercial drivers, they don't drive their own cars. The cars they drive belong to owners. Some make accounts to the owners on a daily basis. Some make accounts to owners on a weekly basis. In extreme cases, they make accounts on a monthly basis. These truck and taxi drivers, if they are unable to make the accounts, that is, fulfill the obligations to the account owners and so on, they take the keys from them. So when they are unable to make what they call accounts, when they are unable to meet the obligations to the account owners and so on, do you know what they do? They go and borrow from Shylocks. They borrow from Shylocks to go and make their sales so they can keep their cars. If they keep their cars, at least it gives the impression that they too, they are working. Commercial drivers in this country are dying. Commercial drivers in this country are being impoverished. Commercial drivers in this country are suffering. Their plight is worrisome. And that is why I 100% supported their strike action. Of course, they are not the only people who are suffering. Everybody is suffering. Everybody. You understand? And our condition is getting worse by the day. Look, today, as we sit here, on the premises of Pan-African Television, today, as we sit here, we have all the resources I mentioned earlier: gold, diamonds, bauxite, gas, oil, mentioned them, rivers, and so on. Today, as we have these resources, look at how our people are suffering. Go to Gambaga and Nalerugu and see the quality of school buildings. Only a couple of weeks ago, Pan-African Television decided to take its cameras to Mamprobi. I'm sure some of you saw the couch. It was on the couch. We decided to take our cameras to Mamprobi in the capital city of Ghana, Accra, and see the school buildings that children are going to school in. They can break any time, fall on the school children and kill them. This is our condition. Now, all of these resources that we claim to have, all of these resources that we claim to have, they are non-renewable resources. What does that mean? It means that these resources will finish one day. When you dig gold from the ground, you can't plant gold again for it to germinate. You dig it out, it's gone. It's not coming back into the soil. Our oil will finish one day. Our gas will finish one day. Our diamonds will finish one day. So today, when we have all these resources, if we are living in this level of poverty, what will happen 50 years from now when these resources are finished? That is why we have to think. That is why when our leaders refuse to think, we must sack them. Because 50 years will soon be upon us. And these resources will finish. Now, when these resources finish, what is going to happen to our grandchildren and great-grandchildren? Don't we have an obligation to protect the interests of our grandchildren and great-grandchildren? Don't we have an obligation? Today is for you. So I stop here. Carry on. We must win this battle at any cost and by every means.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Kwesi Pratt. So he is concluded. So which means I've gone through my panel for today. One person is missing. I have no indication as to why he's not here. But let me go through a few of your messages. If you're watching us at home, this is Kojocho Mwafo. Says, Sena, I cannot understand what is going on, and I would like my senior comrade to explain to us. If Speaker Bagbin acknowledges that there was an illegality perpetrated before he got back, what stopped him from doing what needed to be done? That is, revert to where he was before he left. Furthermore, we hear the Speaker was prevailed upon against his own inclination to accept the illegality. We need clarification. We cannot keep going like this. Who prevailed upon the Speaker not to revert to where we were before he left. He should remember that his inaction has burdened this country. With a new presidential jet, this country can ill afford. Okay, so this is, I think this is Dennis Yakwete, who says, what else can one say that the ironies under President Nana as a human rights lawyer president, who only has expertise, whose only expertise appears to be in lip service as to what ought to be, but in reality is clueless about the circumstances of Ghanaians as he continues to live like king instead of a servant and has no respect for the rule of law. Not to talk about the almighty fight against corruption, which showed us he will to become president. The focus appears to be restoration of some lost glories, obviously, for the self rather than the ordinary Ghanaians and posterity. And in all this, the duplicitous disposition and loud silence of the moral society is monumentally incredible and can only pass for Matthew 24:24. But the good news, however, is that President Nana Addo would have been the best president Ghana never had he not been given the opportunity by the people of Ghana. This, we are happy because he has been exposed by power. In short, the leadership of Nana Addo is something God must not allow Ghana, for whatever reason, to experience. That's coming from Dennis Yao Akwete, who sent down. Abbas Omogobo in Offenso says, we welcome President Nana and the MPP. They have disappointed everybody in this country, including the core members. The party must know Ghanaians are suffering too much under their 5 years in office. They must get worried for not being able to build a single senior high school, no hospital, no talk of market, airport, no university. They must also know that Ghanaians are not ready to pay the TV e-levy. That's coming from Abbas Amogobo. Alhaji in Pig Farm says, when a native doctor asks you for the urine of a fowl, that's a vital ingredient to solve your problem. Just know that he can't offer you any help. Next time when Ghanaians hear 4 more from the MPP, they'll ask them terms and conditions. That's coming from Alhaji Hadi in Pig Farm. And this one is from quite an statement from Papa Bishu, who says, I said, I need to pinch myself just to tell me to be a man. If not, as I am typing to tell the world of the deceitful nature of Nana Addo, the president of Ghana, my tears will have been more than 3 months old. That of a 3 months old hungry baby for the breast milk of the mother. Is it not the same Nana Addo, then in opposition, who was heard and seen, begging Ghanaians to vote for him for so-called transparent governance, prudent expenditure, humility, etc., etc.? Today in government, same Nana Addo, Vice Cousin Kenoforiata, the Minister of Finance and Kandapa, the Minister of National Security, refusing to disclose the amount spent on his numerous foreign luxurious travels, killing innocent Ghanaians during general elections via the military. Corruption is the order of the day. His MPP MPs undermining the Speaker of Parliament, borrowed more than any government in the history of Ghana, but nothing to show. Most of their goals are perfected the art of spinning lies to look like truthfulness, and that's their trademark. So sad under Nana Addo's hopeless rule. There's some more messages. Idi Gideon also said, happy festivities to all and sundry. Lest we forget, irrespective of the draconian levy, we should be reminded of the 15% rise in government services and charges. Is on our necks, and we must be worried. I think we are seriously faced with leadership crisis as a nation, and Ghanaians aren't angry enough. It is getting disheartening and outrageous. Our true independence, as we see it, is in question. That's from Idi Gideon. I'll do one last one, and then I'll come back to the premises and see if those who are sitting with us have some comments to make. Positive change in Medina. He says 3.6 million Ghanaians experience hunger, and 2 out of 3 Ghanaians live in slums. Sadly, Akufo-Addo wants to use their tax money to buy a new private jet for his comfort, as if that is why he was voted into power. Clearly, this government has no solutions to our needs and problems. They have completely lost control of the reality on the grounds. This one, and he continues during the Medina Trade Fair and Christmas. Okay, okay. Thank you. Positive change in Medina. So I'll come back to the premises where we are. Okay. So some people have comments to make. I will start with those who have not had the opportunity. I'll come to you. Those who have not had the opportunity before I go to those who want to have a second bite. But let's not forget, this is the year when plantain sold, bunch of plantain sold for 5 cedis, I believe. Yes, the gentleman. Get a bit closer to the mic.
Thank you. My name is Koshi.
Okay. Okay.
I am a friend of Pan-African TV.
Okay.
And I have a lot, so I'll start. When you had enough, you put a stop to me. I've been here late, so forgive me if I'm not abreast with what you've discussed.
So we are doing 2021.
So
wherever you
I begin with the proposal of the NDC to the Electoral Commission for registrant to register at the constituency level. Now, this idea sounds progressive. It sounds nice, but it is the very idea that will rock this boat. It will rock this boat because the Constitution imposes a residency requirement on people who register. And that requirement is better guaranteed when people register at the local level, at the neighborhood level, so that the neighbors can attest to their residency. Now, if I walk to a constituency center at, let's say, Apam, claiming that I come from the Urampo, how will that be verified? How will that be verified at Apam? So what is going to happen is that there will be a huge displacement of vote from strongholds to swing constituencies. The people over there will get the card, and on the day of voting, those at the neighborhood will resist them from voting. The party militia will be deployed to ensure that they vote, and this country will explode. So that idea should not be entertained at all, unless the NDC or other parties have a structure to ensure that everyone who registered at the constituency level is verified at the local level. That is number one. Now, number two, we've been talking about ye levy. People said a lot of things about ye levy, but there is one thing that nobody is addressing is mine too. Now, if you are a small business owner and you transfer an amount of 10,000 Ghana cedis to a supplier in Accra here, you pay 175 Ghana cedis. If you do that every week, you pay 700 Ghana cedis a month. A year, you pay 8,400. That is 84% of your initial capital. Who can bear that in this country? So this levy idea is so foolish that I don't know whose idea it is. Who can bear that in this country? And there are several small businesses that have a turnover of 10,000 Ghana cedis every month, every week. So if you do that, you are going to pay 84% of your initial capital in a year. Who can bear that? On only e-levy.
Yeah, the charges are not to be. Yeah.
On only e-levy. Nobody is talking about that. These are the practicalities that people are not addressing their mind to. You talk about plantain selling at 3 Ghana cedis in Accra here. Now, if that is true, 5 Ghana cedis here in Accra here. Yeah. If that is true, that is a death sentence to plantain farmers at Agogo. That is a death sentence to plantain farmers at Agogo. But you have an agric minister whose responsibility it is to seek the welfare of the farmers, jubilating over the price of a 5 CD plantain in Accra. So this is somebody who has no idea of his work. Because if it is true that plantain is 5 CDs in Accra here, then at the gate at Agogo, it should be 2 CDs or 3 CDs. And which farmer can survive with a bunch of plantain for 2? But you have an agric minister celebrating that in Accra here, celebrating it. He doesn't know that in the supplier producer chain, resource price at one end is an income to the other end. He doesn't know that. He doesn't know that. So these are the ideas we are talking about. These are the things people. So if you listen to them, you know that these are people who don't have a proper grasp of the Ghanaian situation. You have free secondary school. When you go to the school, when when the bell is rang in the morning for Ghanaian students to go out for break, you have a section going to the dining hall to eat food provided by the government. Then you have a section going to the open market to buy food provided by their parents. What is the basis for that discrimination? What is the basis? Because the money being used for the free secondary school belongs to all of us. It belongs to all of us. It is not anybody, it's all of us money. But you have a situation where some people go to the dining hall to eat food provided for by the government. A section goes to the market to buy food provided for by their parents. In addition to free accommodation, free water, free utility, everything free. But because the free senior high school is patently good, it's a patent idea, it sounds nice. So nobody is prepared to talk about it. Nobody is prepared to talk about this issue. So I think I have to stop here. When I have more. Maybe you have to invite me onto your show.
I have so many guest demands. Thank you very much. Let me give you a moment. The gentleman there.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. My name is Eric.
Okay.
It's a year 2021 in review. I recall that for some time now, the former president, currently he's not a president, but the former president, you will see him at various places trying to help in areas that needs help or attention. I recall when there was an issue with people in Keita, he went there to do what he's supposed to do or what he can do. There are many other places also that, as a former president, he has also assisted in several ways, and I think it's commendable. In year review also, for some time now, I've also realized that when it comes to policing, it's also coming down. I sometimes drive around and the police are kind of, in recent times, they talk to us well. The approach is gradually getting better. So it's a commendation. I commend them and I wish that it continues. I think that is also commendable. I'll also say, having been driving around, I've also realized that the roads are terrible. We have to go to parts, we have to buy parts often. You have to also go to the workshop often. So I'll also urge the government to try and fix the roads so that we'll be okay in terms of driving on the road. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Eric. Any more contributions, or let me turn to you.
Yes, Honorable ABF Sena, I think I'll have something to actually tell you, because I actually love you so much. I'm a Dagomba, but I was not born in Tamale. I was not born in the north. I was born in Tamale, Tema. So anytime you speak, I have to bring down my pen and paper to jot down some of the proverbs that you've been giving out. But there are many Dagbani proverbs, yes. So I thank you for that. And there is one thing that I want to tell you, because you are in the parliament. I'm in Tema Community 12, not far from Ashama. So I do travel to Ashama quite a lot of times. If you go to Ashama and they tell you that Ashama is situated in the capital, it takes you maybe if there's no traffic, it takes you 10 minutes to drive from the Parliament House to Ashama, at least, or maybe 20 minutes to drive from the Parliament House to Ashama. Today, if you go to Ashaman and see the kind of roads that people ply on in Ashaman, you will be surprised to see, to know that we have somebody called an MP in Ashaman. As you see my beard, if I ride on a motorbike from the Ashaman traffic to Lebanon, by the time I get to Lebanon, my beard will be red. Trust me on this. Those of you who know Ashaman, you can testify to that. Just from the China Mall to the Kakito police station, the road is dusty and the people living around are inhaling dust every day.
Okay.
Before the election in 2020, they graded the Lebanon road, Lebanon from Jericho, just after the elections. And the road was tired. When they graded the road, they have never attended to the road, to put coatal on the road, even though the road was already tired.
Okay.
People are inhaling dust in Ashaman. If should someone tell you that there is an MP in Ashaman, you will say it is a lie. And our MP, Honorable Ernest, no, I'm talking about what brought me here.
Okay.
I'm not talking about what you see, because that is the reason I'm here. I was the first to be here. I was even thinking that I could get a seat over there.
I get that. I get that. But I think your point on Ashaman is well made. Unfortunately, it's noon. I need to wrap up the show. So you said no. The three of you have all spoken. In fact, if I have three requests at the same time, there's nothing I can do about it. Okay, Mr. Passes, I can give you 1 minute each. Briefly.
Yeah, brief. Yeah, let me conclude with what Mr. Kwesi Pratt said. Just about 2-3 days ago, the chief and the king of Asante was actually entreating Ghanaians to be citizens and the good citizens as well, to pay our taxes. I was actually referring to something in Nkrofo. The youth of this country don't find it pleased to come on social media and be insulting our leaders. But majority of the youth in this country have been rendered useless and jobless. We are only asking our leaders to create something out of what we have. We have a fertile land. All we need is for you to create something out of the mineral resources we have, the gold, the oil, all the royalties coming out of this royalties we have. Create something out of it. Give the ordinary youth a livelihood to live on.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Because you let the lady come and then you followed. We'll follow. Yeah.
Good morning once again. Actually, I didn't finish my contribution. I actually have a message to give it to Honorable ABF Husseini, to Parliament, the NDC parliamentarians, and down to whoever will be the flag bearer or the next president. For me, I'll vote for Mahama. I want to tell him that he should let them know that the criminality going on in this Akufo-Addo's government, he has launched something called anti-corruption, whatever, that he has been the only president who has fought corruption to the core. And we know what he has done. He has been the most, I don't want to use the word useless, but he has been the president who has been more corrupt, has had a looting machine in his government. And I want to tell our honorable members and to whoever will lead NDC or whoever will lead Ghana, that when that person comes, he should make sure that these appointees, these Akufo-Addo appointees who have made Ghanaians suffer the hell, he should let them also suffer that same thing. He should let them go to jail. Even if they are dead, they should send their bodies to the jail. Because we want them to feel what we are feeling today. Okay. And we want, and then one most important thing also is that if he comes to power, the Akufo-Addo-led government, to me there is a criminality cartel. We want them to suffer the same suffering that they've let us go through. Okay. That's the message I have for him.
Thank you. Koshi went for us.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Somebody talk about Otunfo encouraging us to pay the E-levy. E-levy is not a tax. It is a rip-off because it has no tenet of taxation. I have a master's degree in that area. It has absolute no tenet of taxation because the tenet of taxation is for you to contribute part of your earning for the maintenance of the system that ensures that you earn those money. But there is no any involved in transferring money. There are values in motion. So why should you tax money which is being transferred? Because there is no any involved. So it is not a tax, it's a rip-off. So we are not going to pay. And I know Alhaji is here. He can sense the anger in the system. If the NDC caucus in parliament dares agrees to this tax, they will have destroyed the NDC beyond repairs. They will have destroyed the NDC beyond repairs. So just you, if it will pass, just don't accept. Please send this to Haruna Idrisu.
Thank
Thank you. Number two, I'm coming. Just a minute. Normally, people say we just bash government. We don't provide alternative. I am proposing that, well, there's betting, which is the thing of the moment. The government can look at that. Those who win, we can find a way of taxing them. There's lotto, good old lotto. Those who win, we can find a way of taxing them. There can be a situation because the government can use its monopoly to its disadvantage. Government has monopoly over water and electricity. So government can say that before I connect electricity to this house, you must show proof of tax payment of those who roof the building, those who build, those who tiles, those who did everything. Because we have been saying that people do artisan work and they don't pay tax. How do we do that? Let's use government monopoly to our advantage. The government monopoly is water and electricity. We can link that. We can link that. Okay. And finally, the president should reduce his profligacy. He should not hire any expensive jet. He should stop that. Okay. He should stop NAPCO and the rest. He has won the election already. Those are election winning machineries. He has won the second term. There is no election for him to win again. So he should stop. Look, I have been looking after my child from P1 to JHS 3. Then the child reaches Form 3 and you say, I can't feed that child. Why from that? I've been buying food from my child from KG up to J3. The child goes to SS1 and you say, I can't buy food, so government, I'll buy for you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, to conclude, okay, let me just go around briefly. I'll start from Nana and then go around to Mr. Pratt. To conclude, perhaps those of you who not had the opportunity of wishing our viewers and listeners a Merry Christmas, you can use that opportunity to do that. There's also been a couple of losses this year. One of them was actually a private burial was held for him last week. It's quite historical when you're talking about the Fourth Republic. Captain retired Kojochi Kata. And then I also understand Ama Benyuado is being buried today. So we've also suffered some losses. A lot of you have suffered your own personal losses. But let's go first with Nana.
Ama Benyuado was a great woman. I mean, one of the people who stood in the face of subjugation, and he actually was very instrumental in promoting our democracy. And we pray that wherever she will go, she will be there watching over us to ensure that whatever she started will not be fruitless. Yes, we are in dire straits, but we believe that if we decide to come together as Ghanaians and make things work and speak against what is going on and actually take an action to ensure that our resources are not wasted. As my senior comrade said, and which has always been going through my mind, whatever we have as resources in this country is not going to stay there forever. And it is time for us to prudently make sure that the resources that we have is used to the benefit of all. It belongs to us. It doesn't belong to any government or any family in this country. I wish everybody a Merry Christmas. I know it's a very dry Christmas because we are all broke, but I do believe that the fact that even the day has come and we are going to enjoy it, let's make the best out of it. May God bless you all, and may God bless you for supporting Alhaji and Alhaji and the Pan-African Television. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Anna. Comrade Bona.
Not much to say, but to commend everyone for the submissions you have made. One of the submissions was, I don't know, very shocking to me that anybody could equate President Kufuor to liken Nkrumah, and that President Kufuor could be compelled to come and make a statement that is unpalatable on the tenor of Kwame Nkrumah. to revise your position and thinking of Kwame Nkrumah and in particular President Kufuor. It cannot be, and it will never be, that Kufuor would be of Kwame Nkrumah. Check your records. I thought that when you were talking, I was mute. Okay. He didn't. Professor Evans Atamil instituted the centenary celebration of Osajifo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah and magnified, and the centenary was to celebrate the 100th birthday of Kwame Nkrumah and beyond. And this was accepted by the African Union. It cannot be. Indeed, even when President Kufuor was speaking about the issue of Ghana at 50, he quoted somebody that said that, can Ghana make it? And he said that Kwame Nkrumah did not make it, but now we can make it. He bastardized Kwame Nkrumah. Atamils came and elevated Kwame Nkrumah. And at 30 in Libya, when Atamil spoke about the fact that Nkrumah's birthday was going to be made a national holiday, he got a standing ovation. And we have been celebrating Kwame Nkrumah's birthday as Founders Day, which President Akufo-Addo has come to caricature. But we refuse. So let the record stand that it is not Kufuor who put Kwame Nkrumah's birthday. In fact, before then, the Socialist Forum of Ghana had decided long before that Kwame Nkrumah's birthday should be recognized as Founders Day, and they started celebrating it before President Evans Atamils came and officialized it. So that is the record. But like I said, I just want to commend all of you. I'm sitting here and after listening to Alhaji on the issue of presidential jet, and I don't know whether I should start tearing myself into pieces. But we cannot allow Parliament to take decisions that are unpalatable, inimical to the well-being of the people of Ghana. I had listened and trusted when Comrade Ablakwa said that any attempt to bring in, under any surreptitious manner, the issue of a presidential jet will be rejected. The Speaker of Parliament was in Parliament. He has actually come to Ghana. When he came to some point, he is not in the chamber. He is not on the seat. And a voice vote has been accepted that we have agreed to a presidential jet, and that is all about it. That is all about it. When Parliament decide that they will take the lives of our people for granted, that Parliament cannot be said to be the representative of the people. And under this circumstance, I say it with all the pain that I can command, that the decision to buy the presidential jet or to approve in whatever manner does not sit well with me as a person, and I'm sure majority of Ghanaians. And so that is the reason why people are even now not happy that we keep saying that you stand with them. You can't stand with them. You can't even stand for yourself. You can't stand for yourself. And I just want to appeal that if there is anything that we can do to overturn the decision in Parliament, it is not left for Parliament alone to do it. It resides in each and every one of us. How we'll be able to send a message as potent and as forceful that the parliamentarians must do what the people of Ghana want. We have. Colonialism was imposed on us. We rejected it and overturned it. Slavery was imposed on us. We rejected and overturned it. If a presidential jet is imposed on us, let's do what our forebears did, that we don't want it and we must rise in our masses to overturn this decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Alhaji.
First and foremost, let me make this very important correction. I did not see anywhere here that the presidential jet has been approved. said they were buying 6 aircraft as part of efforts they called trying to retool the armed forces. But in it, they had envisaged earlier to include the presidential jet, but which since has been decoupled. So as we speak now, the presidential jet has not been brought before the House for approval. It's a separate matter. They have come to the House bearing what they call international agreement for the purchase of 6 aircraft to retool the Ghana Air Force. And so that is what I said, that's what they were pricing for 14.5 million euros per jet, and not a presidential jet. So let me make that abundantly clear. Let me join Comrade Kwesi Pratt. When occasions like this come, I get nostalgic about the demise of my friend, comrade and brother, Alhaji Bature, with whom we sat and crafted this program almost 2 decades ago in reverence and recognition of the need to give our people an alternative voice, as Comrade Pratt said. I am so happy sitting here after him, and I know the Almighty Allah will give him peaceful rest and Jannatul Firdaus in recognition of the sacrifices he had made for Ghanaians. Today, this program, by virtue of the courtesy of your participation, has kept this program alive. So we owe you an irreparable debt of gratitude for the continuous patronage of Alhaji and Alhaji. And I know that as the years go by, the truth, which is like a cock, can never be submerged. You stand the test of time, and I'm sure that Ghanaians will be vindicated. I want to also recognize that today we are mourning some other people. Our legendary woman, a fighter, a courageous patriot, who sacrificed her life for the great ideals of this nation. I'm talking of our mother, our sister, Amma Benyuado. Because of her courage and her fortitude, some people even call her Chavez. And all of you who know our comrade Chavez, Venezuela, is not a man who looks over his shoulder before he can stand up to the machinations of the imperialists. And so we know, and all of them, our legendary father, Captain Kujo Chukata, all of them, we cannot forget the sacrifices they have made for this country. We know that the ideas that they live for are the ideas we should continue to stand up for and ensure that they have not laid down, they have not died in vain, and that those very fantastic ideas will continue. I want to take this opportunity again once more to reiterate and assure Ghanaians that the National Democratic members, the National Democratic Congress members of Parliament are resolved without any iota of doubt that this obnoxious, wicked, insensitive e-levy, every one of us, the 137 members, are going to stand up against it in Parliament on Monday. And like I told you, depending on the scenario that is on the floor, it may either get rejected, or in the event that it is passed, it is not going to be associated with any member of the NDC, not a single one. Because like I said, yes, I think I need to make that qualification once again. I've said we have 275 members of Parliament. Decisions in Parliament are taken by a simple majority. If 138 members vote for any measure, that measure is passed. 137 may oppose it, but it is seen to have been passed. Let's make that abundantly clear, so that you don't say maybe if they manage to garner 138 votes because maybe the Mr. Speaker himself is in the chair and they have the full complement of their house and they're able to garner it, and 137 of us show proof that we are against the measure and vote against it, then we have facilitated the passage. I think that will not be fair, because we would have done, we can't do the impossible, we can do all your best, and the best we'll do is to garner 137 votes. That is what we can do. And I'm indicating to you that as far as we are concerned, to show that we in the NDC will be implacably opposed to it. We will deliver the 137 and ensure, depending on the circumstances, that we'll do our best to get it not passed. But this is the reality of the parliament we have. And it has been said before, when the numbers were there and they treated the parliament as a rubber stamp, and Mr. Speaker made eloquent testimony to it, that he is not going to preside over a situation where the manner in which they treated parliament before. And today, they have humbled themselves. Look, I can tell you, for instance, when the electoral commission came and somebody asked a question here, they asked, what's he called? Mr. Bossman. Mr. Bossman and the other deputy who came in to stand for the electoral commission were sacked from parliament. They asked to go back until the woman herself comes to parliament. On the committee that I am a ranking member, we asked the communications minister, Honorable Osorowusu, to go out. It has never happened in the annals of our country's history. And we suspended the sitting and demanded that certain things be done before they can appear before us. So yes, all of us would have liked a perfect situation. I can tell you without any idea of doubt that if the NDC had that majority in parliament, this matter would have been dead long ago. But this is where we are. This is the hung parliament Ghanaians have given us.
Okay.
And already I'm sure we can see that this parliament, in spite of its limitations and other things that have gone on, is not exactly like the parliaments that have happened before.
Okay. Okay.
So we are cognizant of the fact that the people who sent us there overwhelmingly have made a call, and we have made the call to our colleagues. When we come outside, even some of our colleagues, they tell us that through this e-levy is not good for our people, but they cannot get the courage because their party is bringing it to stand up against it. That is what the problem is.
Okay, Alhaji, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Brown.
Once again, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. May our struggles for a better Ghana and better Africa intensify next year. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Kwesi Pratt. Well, let me say a big thank you to every one of you made it to the premises today. It was wonderful to see Koshi. I enjoy reading the write-up you sent to me, and it's always wonderful to see Albert and then several of you who joined us here in the premises this morning. A big thank you to everyone who was listening and watching us on our various affiliate stations. We cannot say a big thank you enough. We do not know what to do to thank you for offering us your platform that is used to broadcast this program. You are the ones who give this program the reach that nobody expects it to get. It's all over, and we are very, very grateful to you. I wish I could go through the names. Unfortunately, I don't want to leave any of them out. But let me say a bigger thank you to Ahunto 92.3 FM, because when Radio Gold closed, we moved here. People were asking, how can we listen to the program if we're unable to watch TV? And they offered us their platform, which we're using. Radio Gold hopefully will be back next year, and then the rest will take off from them. A big thank you to every one of you. You've given us the best of years, and we are looking forward to a bigger partnership in the growing year. We're with you through your celebrations, through your difficulties, and we pray next year will be better. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, because next Saturday, the Saturday after that, the next one is Christmas, the one that follows is New Year, the New Year, so you will see us here. On behalf of the crew here at Pan-African Television, wonderful group of guys, I say Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you, and thank you for your time, and thank you for your patience, thank you for your contributions. Take care.
He has labored, he has suffered to lead his people into the land of freedom. He is the Redeemer and